Hello. 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 Good morning, afternoon, evening. It's this Kinavera here with some Nintendo Switch Online. Last time I did this, and my YouTube cut me off like past 20 minutes. It could have been like my connection or so, I'm not sure, but I had been streaming it for like 2 hours or something. So if you notice that abrupt cut from that, that's why. I don't know if it's gonna do the same thing this time. I hope not. It shouldn't. But I'll get it situated at some point because not knowing the problem is the biggest problem. おはようございます。こんにちは。こんばんは。XS キネです。今日の配信は Nintendo Switch Online です。バラエティです。Yeah, I don't know. Just playing whatever, pushing through whatever. I don't remember if I said it in the last one or not, but Nintendo Switch Online, at least English, has been trying to add some games from the JP side. Because I guess you don't really need to be able to know how to read it in order to play it. But even if that is the case, you could make another account and get access to the JP library as well, like here, because it does have some games on here that aren't on there. And box art is different too. If you really like looking at like differences and stuff, region based and whatnot, this is a good way to do it. Notice how like box art for Metroid looks different than from English. Oh look, hey guys, it's Fire Emblem. It's Fire Emblem, the one they released for NES that they finally put in English. That was for a limited time. That I actually bought. Yes, I did. I was wondering if they were gonna do the same thing for Roy's game, but I don't think they're going to. Maybe they're going to bundle it with the other GBA games or something in a pack and do it that way. Maybe it would have more value, and it would give you a reason to buy the pack because you'd be like, oh, okay, you know, you have 3 games and one of them was never released outside of Japan. And so I think that would be a great idea to do, but I doubt they'll do that. Fingers crossed though. Opium is a thing, so you know. But yeah, this is Fire Emblem 1, and it's not on the English system for obvious reasons. I'm gonna play a little bit of it just for the heck of it, but I'm not gonna be playing. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to do like full playthroughs of anything here. It's just to bounce between different games and whatnot. So I'm probably just gonna, I'll start with, I think it was Downtown. Yeah, that one. Yeah. The River City Ransom game, basically. But yeah, I'm just here to play something while I'm awake before I sleep, I guess. I work 3rd shift this week, so I'll be like going in late and coming home late, so that'll be fun. I'll give you more news on how I feel about work throughout the week as well, as I have been doing, because you know how I feel about it right now. But yeah, that's basically what's going on. Oh yeah, let me turn this off. But yeah, this is a game that well, not this version obviously, but this is the game I grew up with. Me and my sister played this game a long time ago. And it's hard. it was very interesting being introduced to this for the first time. No. I don't remember there being enemies in the beginning of in the first spot. Maybe not in English, I could be wrong though. On my cart, every time it would boot up in like the wrong colors. It would be like creamsicle colors or something, and I don't know why. But yeah, this game had differences. It's a Japanese game, and they tried to make it westernized. Gameplay is exactly the same though. No differences. Even the coins look the same. The only difference is like, I mean, obviously their uniforms are different. I'm pressing the wrong button. But I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's week went well, and I hope your following week goes really well as well. Well, look what we have here. Yeah. My week's been busy though. My week has been very busy. That's why I didn't stream anything yesterday. Or Saturday. Or, yeah, Saturday. Just been busy. Work has me annoyed as usual. But I also worked longer hours. The longer hours bit wasn't the issue though. I wasn't too annoyed with that, because I was actually getting work done. I didn't have anyone in my way, so I wasn't too upset about that. I will say, however, there was a point in time where my advisor was trying to get us to work an extra day, and it's like, no, I'm not doing that. No, thank you. Because I've already worked 50 something hours this week. I'm not going to work an extra day for what we're doing. Absolutely not. If you want to be here on a Saturday, you can do that. That's great. If anyone else wants to do that, they can do that too. But I know the day shift coworker does not want to do that. And I don't want to do it either. And so we'll leave it to the other one, the one who is the most annoying one who can't get work done. We'll leave it to that one, because he loves money anyway. So why not give him the extra hours? I'm not doing that. In fact, the moment that they try to, I'll put it on record right now, guys. The moment that does happen, whether it be this week, next week, whenever they say, I am walking out that door, and no one is going to stop me. The reason why I can say that I can do that though is because I do have some money saved up to where I can survive, and I can look for a different place to work at. As said before, every place has its problems, so that's not the real issue. The real issue is, step by step, the real issue is having the problem and not acknowledging the problem, or the problem not even, like, it's just not being, no one's trying to fix it, basically. Let me put it to you like this. Let's say that you work a job. Let's say that you are in a position, a specific position, right? Where you're supposed to do a specific job. Okay, cool. You were taught how to do it. Cool. You may not have gotten good at it. Great. You've been there for maybe 5 years. Okay. You don't have to get fired from that job. There are plenty of other positions in that job you can go to. And that's the whole point of having multiple positions and multiple jobs, so that if someone doesn't do well, they can do a different job in the area so that they're still employed. Because it's not as harsh as, okay, you can't do the job, so we're gonna fire you. It's, you know, but in this case, it's more like, we know that this person is not good at doing work, but we're gonna put him in this area because he'll get in less trouble this way. And I'm like, less trouble this way? This is a production job. This job requires speed. Once you get to where you need to get to, it requires speed. I should not have done that. Bye. It requires speed and urgency, sort of, kind of. This is a person, though, that will come to work. I'm dead. And not get to work, right? Smooth criminal. Come to work and not grab their stuff to get started with work. And when it's time for the third person to come in, or whatever, the next person to come in, they'll leave the area for like 2 or 3 times for about, 10-15 minutes. Not doing their job. And that's the thing that infuriates me the most, because they won't stay put in an area where they actually need to. It actually requires you to, you have less problems when you actually stay in that area, because you're supposed to be watching a machine, and when something happens, you're supposed to be able to stop the machine off as quick as you possibly can, so that it becomes less of a problem. Get out of here. Now, we all know this at the place, and this person is like scared of their job. Once again, this person's been doing this job for 30 plus years, and is not confident at all. Neither confident nor competent, quite honestly. That's me being blunt about it. And no, I'm not a mean person, I can promise you that, but I can tell you this person specifically has brought the worst out of me. People who know me closely know this. It makes me seem like a demon, but I'm not. I promise you, I'm one of the nicest people that you could probably ever meet, unless you just intentionally try to like take me off. But I'll pick up on that, so I mean, I'll just ignore you if that's the case. But like, I usually will go out of my way to help people. I paid like for people's bills before who didn't really care much about me, so nice guys finish last and all that stuff. But I'm not gonna like become like some bully just because of that, as I play a bullying game. That's a terrible way to go, though. I'm not gonna do that now. But yeah, so the guy gets away with it a lot because management doesn't do anything about it. Management isn't gonna do anything about it. I still haven't been there for a year yet. It feels like I've been there for like 3 or 5 years, but I haven't even been there for a year yet. That's just how long the days feel. Despite the weeks going by so fast, so quickly, the days feel long. It's like a hyperbolic time chamber. So management won't do anything about it. So that's the main reason why I don't want to be there. But I didn't have to work with him last week, despite working longer hours, and guess what? It wasn't as aggravating. I wonder why. Because it's not the job. In this case, it's literally the person. Ow. I hurt myself. Yep. Please. Onegaishimasu. That was not what I wanted to do. So if this nonsense happens this week, I am not dealing with it. And everyone's gonna plead, like, they're gonna plead ignorance. Be like, what happened to him? Why did he leave? What's going on? I haven't heard from him. What's going on? What's going on? It's gonna be like, you know what's going on. Don't. It aggravates me because I know everyone who works there are adults. Is an adult. So why are we acting like? Why are we feigning ignorance to a problem that you have control of? Because we don't have control over this. I'm dead. You have control over this, management. I'm gonna have to talk to HR about this, and I'm gonna have to talk to someone above HR, not in our plant, just because you let a problem go on for so long and you didn't have to directly deal with it. So I'm not gonna be the one to deal with it, and I'm not gonna be the one to follow along with it, because it makes things worse. I shouldn't have to go to work and be angry every single day because he feels like he's doing his job when he's not. No one's told him that he's not doing his job properly, but he won't stay in the dang room that he's supposed to be working in, all because either he's too scared or he may have an attention deficit disorder. And if he does, guess what? The plant knows that. And if the plant does know that, then that means they're more at fault than he is. Because they decided to put him in that area, not because things would get done, not because of the disorder, but because he'd get in less trouble and they don't want to fire him. You don't have to fire him. Put him somewhere else. You've been doing it for how many years? Put him somewhere else. Don't put him in a production job where they're telling us that we're gonna have to work an extra day just because we can't keep up. You know why we can't keep up. And it's not because of me and the first shift coworker. I can promise you that. So I want my supervisor to say something to me. I'm not gonna yell. I'm not gonna scream. I'm not gonna curse. I'm just gonna leave. They can't force me to stay there. It's not like I'm on a contract or anything. It's not like being in the military or something. They can't make me stay. They can't reprimand me for anything like that because I decided to leave on my own will because they decided not to fix the problem. And they won't let us fix it because the first thing I'm going to end up doing is jacking him up and putting him up against a wall. And then I will be in the wrong, and then I'll more than likely go to jail for it. So if they want to prevent something like that, they either need to remove him from that area and put him somewhere else, or I'm going to leave. And I'll feel just fine. In fact, I'll feel free because I actually want to pursue more than just being at that job. That job is supposed to be a long-winded job anyway. It's supposed to like take care of you, but you could say that I lucked out, I guess, because if you don't get off of me, I did pick normal instead of easy, but it's whatever. Everything is triggering me now. So that's why the moment that something like that happens, I'm just not gonna be there anymore. It's surprising that I've been there as long as I have, but it's also surprising that it still hasn't been a year yet. I was trying to be there at least till December. Because November would mark a year for me, technically. But this isn't looking too great. So I'd rather just look into other things. It's not like that's the best job in the world, and it's not like it's the best paying job in the world either. But I have a decent amount of money saved up to where I could be off at least for a few months and still be okay. That's the funny part. That job has given me that. But once again, it's not the job that bothers me. It's the way that everybody acts. It's weird. It doesn't feel like a professional area at all. This is me, like a young person coming into like an older place, and people just it makes me feel like I'm insane because everyone else is so insane. Like, it feels like they don't have common sense, and that's coming from someone who's pretty naive. It's weird, man. I don't get it. And I'm not trying to get it anymore because it's just making my brain hurt more and more the more I think about it. That's why I'm just not gonna deal with it anymore. That's the fun thing, that's the cool thing about being an adult though. Being an adult means that you can make the decisions that you want to make. But you feel like, sometimes you feel like you're still young in the way where you feel like if you make a decision, someone's going to scold you for it like you are a child. So you don't think about, oh yeah, I am an adult. I didn't think about that. I can make this decision on my own. You're not like in school anymore, you know? You're not in like grade school anymore. You can actually make that decision. And so it's like, yeah, why should I subject myself to this? You can convince me all you want to stay, but even if I said yes, you're not going to get rid of the problem that we're having. So get rid of the problem and I won't have to worry about leaving. Anyway, but other than that, yeah, the job's easy. For me anyway. For me, it's literally set up things, sit down. When something finishes, fix it up. Take whatever off, put a new whatever on. Start machine back up, wait another amount of hours that you did the first few times until the set is done. Break down set. And it's supposed to be a machine that runs like, that runs like 24 hours. So, you know. Bye. So it's an easy job for me. Like, because most of the time when I'm there, once I get everything set up, I'm honestly just on my phone. But I'm watching the machine as well. Well, that's what we're supposed to do. I guess it doesn't count if they fall off. Maybe that would be too easy. I don't know. Anyway. Oh no, I think I know what's up. You have to fight the characters in order or something. And I'm just like milling about for the heck of it while I speak. Because I just feel like talking and playing, you know? Chill a little whatever. But, you know, it's fun. Like the job, I mean, okay, I'll tell it to you like this. For most people, it would probably annoy you. It's a sauna, guys. Don't ban me, YouTube. It's a sauna. Alright, I'm out. Or an onsen, I guess you could say. Onsen. Garbage day. Actually, that is what this says. It says Gomi no Hi, which means garbage day. I don't know what the bottom says. It's a place though. It's like Dai Hose or something like that. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I could read. Kind of sort of. Which is kind of interesting because NES games mostly didn't have kanji because they couldn't fit them into the cartridge. Maybe they got around it by like drawing or something, or making it small enough. I don't know. That's why some of the older Fire Emblem games are only in hiragana because the kanji won't fit. I'm going to die. That's brass knuckles. Ah! Why are you backing up? Do you not want to fight me anymore? Are you that scared? What's going on here? But yeah, I can't go in because I haven't beaten the bosses. Let's play a different game. It's still a fun game though, I love it. Oh look, it's Zelda. I'll just run around because I'm not good at Zelda. Also, listen to this. It sounds different from the NES, the NES version because of the sound chip is different. So here's another example of that. Notice how it sounds like warbly and you can actually hear a bell. It sounds much different. Anyone who actually knows about it. But it seems that they got the spelling right here. Despite that, there may be some misspellings here, unless they did fix it all the way. I do see Rupee and Rupees. Looks like everything's spelled right. Yeah. Unless I'm thinking of Zelda 2. Maybe Zelda 2 is the one that has it spelled or have things spelled wrong, I'm not sure. But everything else here is spelled correctly. Haha, step ladder. It straight up says Bible. Yeah. I am not good at Zelda games. But I don't hate them. Oh yeah, I named him Totaka because of the Totaka song thing. I don't know what I'm doing though. Also, there are longer loading times for Famicom. Hitori de wa ikenji. Kore o sazukyo. Maybe. I don't know. This sounds different too, can you tell? Instead of that's one thing I love about this though. I love the differences. Don't mind me. Sounds like someone's screaming. So yeah, get Nintendo Switch Online today, Mac. The differences are at least interesting. If you're looking for a challenge or you're like, oh yeah, I played Zelda 1 millions of times, play it in a different language. Because NES and Famicom have differences. And so do Super Nintendo and Super Famicom. But I was never really I never could get into this game. It still looks visually looks fantastic. Still, because pixels don't age. But I was just never good at open world or open space adventure games like this. Oh man. Oh. What the? Like, hey man, at least it's not eating my shield, right? I am dying, I'm dead. Oh look, it says continue save retry. Something that it didn't really say for NES. I wonder why. Wonder why they had to have that battery in the NES version. I wonder. And only people who aren't, you know, Gen Z or whatever would know, because obviously, unless you know, unless you collect, those cartridges are different. Like the Nintendo Entertainment System one had a battery in it in order to save instead. But I do remember my sister borrowing Zelda 1. Nice little shiny cartridge. And I was never good. Oh, hello, motivational. Welcome. Just wanted to come around and say hi. I gotta go to bed though. No, that's understandable. It's 1 a.m. for me. I'm just chilling, playing through whatever I feel like on Nintendo Switch Online. I'm glad you stopped by. It's nice to see you. I saw you were playing Smash Bros. Earlier, or I saw your name pop up. Saw a bunch of people playing. I hope you guys are, you know, enjoying yourselves and stuff, and I hope you're doing well. But yeah, I'm just chilling. But yeah, get a nice sleep. Have a fantastic week. I hope it's a really good one. Here's to surviving it for the next one. But yeah, Zelda 1 is different between regions. Yep, yeah. Sometimes the sprites are even different. It just sometimes the tile set can be different as well. Sometimes you may have more animation or less animation depending. Sometimes you'll have more sounds and less sounds depending, or the sounds are just different in general. And it's very interesting. Oh my god, it's a tree. When I see stuff like this, it reminds me of a game I played on PC a long time ago. And I don't know if it was like based off of Zelda 1 or not, but it was called God of Thunder. I don't know much about it other than that, but it reminds me of this. Or this reminds me of that. Long load time, because Famicom. Is the song the same? Yes. Okay. I think the only song differences are in Zelda 2. And I don't hear any like sound set differences either. Obviously I can't sing with it, I'm gonna have delay, so that's gonna sound bad. But yeah. Wish there was a better way to figure that out. I'll figure that out at some point. Wait a minute. Do one of you guys have the key? Oh yeah. You have it, don't you? Because it's on you, isn't it? Is it like that in the NES? Can you actually see it on the enemy? I wonder. I have no idea. What's in this room? Before I go into that door. Oh yeah, the keys. I think that's what they're called. I don't play much Zelda, but I know something. Oh, 2 keys. Cool. Wow. Yeah, well, even that door makes a different sound. I love it. I will always point out that stuff because it's cool. So this lets me know that these enemies don't have keys on them. I'm dead. Well, I'm not necessarily. One reason why I like Zelda 2 more than Zelda 1 is because of the combat, actually. You don't have to stop when you actually attack. You can do more maneuvers. Yeah, I got a heart. But I don't know, I've just never been inclined to play Zelda. I did watch my sister a little bit, but like I said, not really a thing that we did. Oh, these guys. The Hershey squares. Ah, okay. When the slimes are harder to deal with than the skellies. Not even a da na 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 na. Oh. Okane ga naku nareba. Ya. Huh? Yaha. Sarenai. Okane ga naku nareba. Atakai no ni. Don't mind me. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, but if you get the reference, you get the reference. I don't know if you get the reference because how would you get the reference? But if you get the reference, more power to you. But he was talking about money. That's about all I know. Oh, I am going to get killed by a slime. Oh, it's the map. Okay. Kizu famous. I've obtained the map. Okay. Oh, hello. Oh, no. Oh, no. Anyway. No, continue. Oh, I did save that up there. Well, let's make another one. Okay. What else? Dr. Mario's not different. Metroid's different, though. And it's difficult. From box art to all sound effects. Metroid is very much like Zelda in that case. Where is the OG one, though? Not the special one. Or the non-special one, rather. Where is it? Oh, Ghosts and Goblins is difficult. Don't even try it. There's Zelda 2. Here's that fighting guy. Enjoy mecha fight. Metroid. Kirby. Oshinokabi. Kirby Star. Stars Kirby. Yume no Nanchara Kanchara. I think it's like Dreamland or something. Because Yume means dreamland. Or dream, rather. Where is it? Metroid o doko ni aru no? Oh, there you are. Blue text. $1986. Yeah. I actually like this tone. I don't know why. Why is it all in katakana? A lot of Japanese people actually hate that, I think. It feels awkward reading all katakana, but I think that also means that the person isn't human when they speak. Like anytime that there are robotic characters speaking, they'll usually speak in katakana. It's supposed to actually be Japanese though. Oh, mother brain. Okay, yo. Okay, so yo. That's so fast. Oh yeah, I had started a file a long time ago. Funny how it looks just like Zelda, huh? But this isn't how it would look in the English version, if I recall correctly. I love the music though. And it lets you put in the name just like Zelda as well. I really love this tone. It's something I could fall asleep to. I don't know. He, not. Listen to that tone. Just let it carry you. You are getting sleepy. So sleepy. You know, beat. I don't know, that's probably wrong. In terms of like, where it is. Oh, the tone stopped. Okay. That looks so weird. How much could I say? Please wait. Which you don't see on the English one. Or at least it doesn't do it twice, and it doesn't take as long on the English one either. And if you played Metroid 1 before, you will notice almost every sound effect in this game is different from the North American one. Or the English one. The jump sound, maybe. Okay, so you can shoot up apparently, but you can't shoot down. You can only shoot forward and up, it seems. A lot of people say this version's hard. I don't doubt it, considering that it is NES or Famicom. So I just got more flawless scenes. Just to that sound effect. It's, like I said, it's different. Metroid fans, you can tell me that that's different. Cause one of my friends, Dread, he's a Metroid buff. So he'll tell you that this is super different. But he also dreads playing Metroid 1, so. And it's the only one I think he hasn't beaten. Even the door opening sound is different from what he told me. But I have a terrible sense of direction, so I get lost very easily in games like this. But I would like to actually play a Metroid game, actually play through one. You're gonna hate me for saying this, but the first Metroid game I actually ever bought was Other M. And you can say I'm so sorry, and that's okay. But the reason I did buy it was because I really liked the box art. So that lets you know that the box art can sell a game. I'm sorry that the gameplay is bad. Or, that the story isn't good or whatever, but the art is beautiful. I can say that much about it, despite not knowing much about Metroid. I mean, a lot of good memes have come out of it, like the baby, but No! But hey, the cool thing about hard games like this is you can rewind when playing on NSO, obviously, or on an emulator. But hey, if you're already paying for it, do it. If you want to do something officially, that's what NSO is for. And if you feel like it's overpriced, which it definitely can be, especially when you get the full thing, like with Game Boy Advance and N64 and Genesis and whatnot. If you really want more out of it, like I said, grab the one, make another account for the other region. If you're in English, make it for Japanese. You may have to set up another, what's it called? Another email maybe. I'm sure everyone at least has like 2 or 3 of them by now though, for different things. and use it for that, and you know, navigate through whatever, and you can download NSO free of charge because you already have NSO for your English account. All you have to do is get the free download. Murio download, and it'll go to your screen or whatever. It'll save to it. You can go to it, and you will be able to play on it, even though you didn't buy Nintendo Online for your Japanese account, which means you play it, you know, on the one you have it on, so you can play on your English one. You can still make the purchases and stuff, but this way you can make purchases in the other language, in the other region, and play the game. Because the Switch isn't necessarily region locked. But the accounts technically are. This may be like because of like ESRB or something. Whoops. Game over. See, continue save. I do like the game though. I don't hate it. What is this? Route 16. Turbo. Am I gonna hate this? Yes, I am. Music's cool. This is definitely not my style of play. Oh my god, what am I looking at? Am I stuck in like... Okay, you know what? No, the concept's interesting. I don't hate it, but it's jarring when you first look at it. It's kind of cool. It actually reminds me of Grand Theft Auto original. Hello, Conquer. Welcome. Nice to see you. I'm just playing through NSO. Have you ever seen Route 16 Turbo before? That's what this is. Doesn't it look interesting? Doesn't it remind you of Grand Theft Auto like 1 or something? I have no idea what I'm doing. I just know I'm not supposed to run into another car, and I can speed up apparently, but I don't know what I'm actually supposed to be doing. I guess I'm supposed to be grabbing those grabbing the money. Yeah, I guess so. Whoops. Yeah, you get like two lives, I guess. That's the cool thing. At first I'll be like, this isn't my style, and I'll take a look. I end up judging it immediately, and then I'm like, you know what, let me give it a shot. Might as well, because, I mean, why not, right? It's not like I paid money specifically for the game itself. I paid for the service. So why not just try it for the little bit that I would? And that's another reason why I think they do those NSO like monthly things where it's like, play this game for a little bit to receive coins or whatever. It's a good way to introduce you to it if you've never seen it before. It's like, oh, okay, and you don't have to play it for that long. You just have to boot it up, I guess, and take a look, and maybe you'll like it. Yin bag. No, come back. Okay. But I hope your days are going well, Conquer. I know you're at work. I hope work is not aggravating. I'm home. Oh, you're home this early? Interesting. What's the occasion? Unless you can't disclose. Got the chance to leave. Oh, good. Omedetou. Congratulations. I'll be playing for a bit anyway, unless YouTube decides to cut me off, which I hope not. Yeah, sure. Let me let me get that set up. And also, this gives me the perfect time to run really quickly to grab something. Give me 1 second. I am back. Tadaima. Alright, let me get this set up. Music's not bad. You also have to put yourself in the mindset of when the games came out and like what would be considered fun at the time. Obviously people who play like newer games with high graphics aren't gonna enjoy a game like this anyway. Unless they're just like, huh, I wanna go back and see what games were like back in the day. But why would you do that? Like, for example, I don't find any interest in going back to the Atari. Because the Atari was before the NES. Though my parents owned one, I show no interest in going back to that. Like, for example, it's like, if we're so used to 2D, I don't want to go to 1D. For the most part. Get used to that sound, because that's going to be my trademark sound. Cringe if you want. I think it's funny. Okay, so... yeah. Oh, hello. Hello, green car. Why are they out to get me, though? Is it like Pac-Man? I'll try it one more time, then I'll switch to a different game. I had a car kind of looks like a Game Boy. That's not what I meant to do. Well, aren't you fun? Stupid. Stupid. So that means I'm the bad guy then. Maybe I'm yeah, I must be the burglar stealing the money. They're after me. After me, Lucky Charms. Hello!
Your wish is stupid.
Stupid. How's it going, Dred?
It is going. They asked me if I wanted to leave early, so I said sure. I took the opportunity to sit down and start conducting a little bit of a resume before I left.
Oh, so you are actually gonna find a different job, huh?
No. The company I work for, they have their own internal process for moving up and stuff like that. So instead of just promoting, you have to interview for it. So if you want to be a manager, you have to get multiple eyes on you to see, you know, like, hey, should we set up an interview for them and all that. And I mean, they have their own internal process of like, oh, well, you know, send an application in for this, or did you file to try to go for this avenue? And the problem is that every time something has popped up, I've never had one ready. So at this point, everyone's just like, oh, did you hear there's, you know, such and such is open, you could apply for this, or such and such is open, you could apply for this. And every so often, I like have an excuse or something for not having one. So I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, well, let me at least get one down, because I'd rather have it, not need it, not have it.
Right.
And the thing is, the resume has to be specific. It can't be like, oh, well, what have you all done? It's more like, what have you done in this company that we might be interested in? Like, what's your progress that you've done while you've been here? What's all your skills that you've done while you've been here? And if applicable, what have you done outside that can further benefit you being here? So I have to restructure a whole brand new resume.
I mean, no, there's nothing wrong with having a having that backup, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's not to get a different job outside that company. It's just they're very, I don't want to say hands-on, but they're very selective. So you gotta, on paper and in person, they want to see, so that way if someone else comes from the outside and looks at it, it's not, okay, well, how'd he get there? Oh, he was doing really good and he became really good friends with us. It's like, I legit have a list of qualifications to show for it. So, I figured most of my time would be messing with that. I mean, I was already technically messing with it before I left work, and then I started getting slowly pulled back into work because I was using their resources, but I was off the clock, and I was like, well, I'll call that a trade-off. They're not making me work, but I get to use shit for free.
Yeah.
Until I was slowly, like, almost getting pulled back to work because I was the only one paying attention to shit, so I was like, let me leave.
Right? Why is it like that?
Well, the main thing is there wasn't really a lot of people there today. So people were going under assumptions with very limited knowledge of stuff. Just because it's so much crap to keep track of. Also, if you hear anything crackling, I've just got a honey bun.
I mean, I heard the
wrapper.
The soda can.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cherry not sponsored Coke.
I mean, yeah. Speaking of, I still need to set up a donation thing. Apparently it's not hard to do, so I might just do that anyway. So why not?
Might as well.
Especially if I'm trying to run away from this job that's giving me agita. I'd rather just not deal with that.
Yeah.
Cause you know we're in the age of, you know, where content creation is the norm now for the most part. So
I mean, we're in the digital age, so if it isn't, you know, Online or electronic. Good luck.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like for people like us, if we don't do it, it's like a wasted opportunity. Because it's not like the older people are gonna want to do this because they barely know how to use a mouse on a computer. So it's like, you know. Meanwhile, you got other people trying to become engineers and learn how to code, and that's higher than something I understand. But I can't say that I couldn't learn how to do it.
I just find it funny with COVID. It kind of exposed a lot of stuff in a weird way. We got to see what was really necessary and what we needed to do for work.
Right. That's funny. I mean, not the disease, obviously, but the way people go into a panic because they realize, oh man, last minute, ha ha ha, ho, ho. What are we to do? Those shall come on. Well, you see, you do the thing. You think ahead about, no one's gonna predict like a war or anything, but you can predict what you need to do to survive in a situation or something. That's why I'm like, oh yeah, I'll leave this job, I'll leave this job, I'll leave this job, because I know I have some money to my name. And I can survive without it for 2 years probably. But it's not like I'm trying to be out of a job for more than a year anyway. I just don't want to keep dealing with what I'm dealing with because of like incompetency from other people. Not just the coworker, but the management as well. If it were just a coworker, I'd just be like, whatever. But since it's also management, it's like, I can't respect this. I hold myself higher than most of the way that these people act and stuff, or the way that they carry on business. So I'm basically overqualified at this point. So I'd rather not deal with this. Because they can get any Joe Schmo to like do the job anyway. So
yeah.
Which is probably one of the reasons why he's over in that area anyway. But I digress, because he's still not getting the job done. But yeah. So I'm gonna probably look into getting something situated for donations, as if anyone would be willing to support me at all, even though I don't do much. But I do want to do more, because if I'm out of the job, I want to do more. I feel like I'm tied down because of that job.
Yeah.
So I think I'll do more if I can get back to this. I feel like I've become a little successful with what I've done so far with this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why anyone wouldn't support you every now and then, so. Worst comes to worst, you could always depend on some of the people you know, so. Help further your dreams.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you know my ass will be here helping you out as much as I can.
I mean, I should be helping you out more.
Nah. On my end, I'm kind of doing this for fun.
I mean, I'm not getting paid at the moment, so I'm technically doing it for fun as well.
Yeah, but you're more invested in it than I am. I just have a whole bunch of mental stuff that's keeping me from actually sitting down to do it.
You think it's not for me? I'm just trying to push forward to be able to have the mindset to do so. That's all. It's fun once you get into it. And it's fun to see other people strive once they can, when they start from the ground up and do so.
Yeah.
Let me see something here. Wait, Taiki. No, not Taiki. No, not Moshimono. How do I... Oh, that's a village. Duh. What's we going here? Bukia. This guy. Ah, yes. I love this expression. It's funny. Okay.
I'm kind of lost, so.
No, it's okay. I'm just playing the first Fire Emblem game that they actually did put in English in, that they had for, like, during the time of, you know, the Mario Limited thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that game. It's just in Japanese. On the NSO, JP. Ha 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 ho 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 ho. But I mean, I played through like the first map so many times, even back in the day when I first learned about the series. So it's, you know, something. I just think the expressions of the characters are really funny though. For like the limited, like sprites and palette and whatever.
Yeah.
For back then. So. But now I'm just going through different games just for the heck of it. It's just NSO and chill. I'm not like trying to accomplish really anything. Just the visual. It's like a podcast for the most part, or a rambling, if you will.
Gotcha.
So. Because I work third shift this week anyway, so it's just like whatever. I'll do a thing. It's not like I did anything all week anyway in terms of streaming, so why not?
Speaking of that, I actually should try to upload that other recording I did yesterday.
By the way, anyone who watches this VOD, go see Dread's channel and watch Metroid. Straight up. Just do it. You know you want to.
Warning, it's a no commentary gameplay. The current one I'm doing. All the others is usually me yapping. But stay here, finish this VOD first before you go over there.
If it's a VOD, they can come and go as they please.
I mean, true, but at the same time, I'm one of those people that I gotta finish what it is that I'm watching before I move on to something else.
Really?
Yep.
I figured everyone in this day and age had ADHD, so it was kind of difficult to do that.
I mean, the only thing ADHD about me is that I might watch the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah,
I've got those
fair.
comfort videos that even though I've seen it, I go back to it, re-enjoy it, and, like, move on from it. But that's while I'm usually doing something that's not... I gotta dedicate my full attention to watching, like, some random episode of Game Grumps or something like that, and then just... Yeah.
Right.
Like that one thing you put in the background for background noise.
Right. Yeah.
Oh. Whoops, doing something out of order here.
Your sequence breaking.
No, as when you go to upload, you usually start with the video first and then do the thumbnail. I was trying to tell it to select the thumbnail first, and it's like, that's not a video. Oh, you're right.
True. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
What threw me off was when I went to select the files, it was showing what was in my clipboard, which is usually the last thumbnail I made. So it was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. I do need that, yes. I need 2 of these. Well, I can only hold 1. Thanks. Okay. Gotta go back anyway. Just hope YouTube doesn't cut me off like they did last time, cause that makes me angry. As if I did something wrong. Did they for real though? I am still going, right? Hold on.
What's going on?
I'm checking to see if I'm still going.
You mean still streaming?
Yes.
You're still live for me.
Okay. Just making sure. Okay. Trust nobody. I don't know why they didn't include the second one for this. Because I like that one more than this one. It's almost as if that they want you to pirate stuff or something. But I didn't say that out loud. What you coding?
Nothing yet.
No. I definitely could see you doing that though.
Wouldn't be the first time. Okay. Doesn't need it. 10,000 gold. You know how many Nintendo Switches I could buy with 10,000 gold? Quit being stupid. What you telling me my Nintendo Gold can't buy me a Swatch?
Nintendo Gold, buy me a Swatch. Buy a whole bunch of them and then just, you know, because you basically become a scalper and then you sell them at 1.5 higher. Because who would buy it at double price?
Yeah.
Who's gonna buy an OLED at $600?
Uh-oh. Stream's loading.
Yeah, let me check my thing.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah, I'm looking at my box at the bottom. It's green for the moment, but it did cut a little bit, I can tell, because my drop frames went up from like 4,000 to 6,000, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. Looks like I need to start looking into a sponsor for a VPN.
You hear that? This could be you.
That's right, guys who are trying to get people to promote their VPNs. You can
The
figure out
sad
my
part is I'd
email.
probably try to be Surfshark VPN. The only reason I know them or like them is because of Tomska. Because he pushes the envelope for his sponsored spots and gets in trouble a lot.
Oh. That's funny.
Like, he won an award for a sponsor ad that he did for Surfshark by Surfshark, and the awards came in and everything. They were broken because of the way they were shipped. But he won 2 different awards for it, and the ad you can't watch anymore. They had to get rid of it and remove it from the video.
Oh, why is that?
It was due to the graphic nature of it.
Oh.
Because it was literally set up as like a... And even he will talk about like the nature behind it. The whole relationship between him and Surfshark and like the... I forget what the name of it is, but essentially there's an ad agency there, or censorship for like TV type of thing. And depending on how you go about stuff, it can be deemed as like too graphic or like, you know, dangerous to people or to kids or whatever in general.
Right.
And essentially his was bothering people, like someone made a complaint about it, which got him investigated as far as like how he was going about with that video. And all it was is the nature of it was basically like not one of those like puff pieces or something like that where it's like, oh, if you don't do this, this is going to happen to you kind of thing. But the way it was being worded and stuff like that, you could misconstrue it for that. So it's like, you should have gotten Surfshark VPN, otherwise you wouldn't have got murdered.
Oh, I got you.
But
this could happen to you if you don't get it. Yeah, I got you.
No, in the form of the skit, that was understood to be the joke. Because it was like, because the nature of it was like, how did you find me? It was like, you weren't keeping your files secure. And that's where it got taken away from it. I don't really remember a lot of the ad, but I remember it was something along those lines like that.
Right.
I mean, the ad itself was very funny. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere out there's an archive of it.
Oh yeah, no, if something was taken down, more than likely someone found it again and uploaded it or just kept it on their Google Drive or something.
Yeah.
That's how you become a historian.
Oh, yeah. Neat.
Remember, only the winners write the history books, so if something gets erased out of existence, it's because they were trying to hide it.
Winners don't do drugs?
I mean, no. Some do.
When I was younger, they told me you shouldn't take drugs. Now that I'm older, I need drugs to live.
Right?
So my doctor's my dealer now.
Yeah,
Very hard to get a hold of.
Oh, well.
Sorry,
How good
pulling a
is that,
joke from
dude?
Robin Williams.
No, it's a good joke.
That was a good comedy
I'm a good
special
man.
of his, in all honesty.
Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to late night. Late night, day night. You're over there searching up something to buy.
Not exactly. I'm trying to find a program that will open up a Word document because I used to have that stuff on my computer, but I ain't used it in so long. I was like, why the hell would I need this? Uninstall it all. Now I'm sitting here like, where's the Windows Store? What is this
Hey, man,
Microsoft 365?
Yeah, I still have like 2016, and I still use it, so I don't even care.
Well, the thing
could
is, I think
easily
it
use-
technically came up with the new version of Windows, like Windows 10.
Yeah.
When you upgraded, it was like, oh, you know, here's this stupid thing, whatever, with it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's supposed to be really good for students or something. From what I remember. But I don't know much about 365.
it's just a hub to like contain everything.
But
So it's
what
supposed to
about
house
Open
all
Office?
the Microsoft programs. It's got it.
Yeah.
Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneDrive, Microsoft Teams, OneNote, Publisher. All of it's there.
Yep.
So that part is, I've actually had to take a class where I've had to interact with most of this stuff, except for the late, stuff in the past few years where it was like Teams and all that, OneDrive.
Yeah.
But
Hey, I'm
Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, all of it I've dealt with.
I got you. I'm gonna put motivational on blast right quick and say that he is not going to sleep, but he's playing Smash Brothers right now.
Well, I mean, he could always spin this and say that he had to go to the bed. He wasn't going to sleep. He just had to go at his bed.
You're not
That
wrong.
doesn't sound
he did
right.
say, well, I mean, he said I just wanted to come around and say hi. I gotta go to bed though. So he probably went to the bed, laid in bed, and booted up Smash Brothers.
He's got us in the background. He's just sitting there like, don't notice me.
He's gonna be like, oh shoot.
Ah, crap. Ah, blubber nuggets.
They are chewing. Now you got me. I'm gonna have to go and microwave something later.
Gonna have to go what?
I'm gonna have to go microwave something later at 2 a.m.
Alrighty.
Pizza rolls.
You microwave pizza rolls?
Yeah, I microwave everything, dude.
I'm an oven kind of. Oh god, now I'm thinking of those stupid videos. There's a guy on YouTube, I can't remember his channel name, but it's himself dressed in like fancier suits each time, and he's pretending to be Italian. So it's just a group of Italians just like bickering with each other about stuff, and of course there's that one guy that's like far left on everything.
Right.
The last thing I saw, it was like two people, it was the two of them sitting across from each other. And he was like, what you eating? Oh, I got a Big Mac. He's like, how come you got a Big Mac when we got chicken nuggets? You could have gotten chicken nuggets. I didn't want chicken nuggets. I got a Big Mac. Why would you choose something good over something great?
Oh.
That's kind of how it is. It's just like, how are you
I
even my
got
brother?
you. Yeah. Why are you microwaving when you could be ovening?
I think there was another one. It was like blue cheese versus ranch. And it was just like, you want some blue cheese for your salad? No. Ranch is fine for me. So you like tasting, or not tasting a lot of things with your food? Oh, here you go, starting
Base.
again. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
blue cheese is healthier and it has more flavor. But ranch is good though. Yeah, but
It's
it
an
mutes
acquired
everything else.
taste
that
for
you-
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is true. It is true. I agree with that though. Very easy for me to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna dump this on this. And
The
not
thing
taste
is-
it.
Thing is, for me, is I'm in the very weird boat of like, I don't really like a lot of sauces with my foods. Like, don't get me wrong, there's stuff that needs sauce to add to the flavor, but there tends to be a lot of people that like, oh well, let me drown this in this or whatever,
Right.
and that's where it throws me off.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the whole, just give me some of that whatever sauce. I put on everything. Or something.
That one commercial, I put that on everything.
Yeah, exactly. Granny saying it and everyone's just like... You can't say that on television.
Why not?
Exactly. It's not like kids haven't heard that before or anything.
It's not like my kids haven't heard worse. Granny.
Granny. Think of the
Granny
kids.
Smith Apple.
Granny Smith Apple. Apple Bloom.
Here, throw that there. Have that over there. All right.
Also,
Okay.
your social security number.
You know if B12 saw that, she'd be losing her mind because of that Steven Universe meme.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Squeak!
Well, I did that, I did that clip. I sent that clip to y'all. Clips are weird on YouTube. Like, if you make a clip, you can't, it's not like people can go to your channel and see the clips that you've made. No. You just have that stashed. And like, unless you send it to someone, that's the only way they'll see it. But you can't just go to someone's page and be like, oh, let me look at their clips. Nope. Or what did they clip? Nope. So that's why people make channels for clips specifically. And it's like, they didn't have to do it that way though. They could have just been like, oh, I clipped this, and you know, now people can see this clip. But I guess that's what other memes are for, like using Twitter or Xter or whatever you want to call it, Twixter, or Instagram and stuff, or whatever, or Discord. And there you go, or whatever. Use other memes for other memes.
Yeah. What in the world is going on with this format?
Why have I played this for so long? I have no real reasoning for playing this for so long. I'll go to the village and leave. Oh yeah, it's the healer. In this game, healers don't get experience from healing. They get experience from getting hit on the head. Not even a joke. A little bit.
A little bit, tiny bit. It'd be fine.
Yeah, because you want your healers, the ones with the least amount of defense, to get bonked on the head to receive experience. The experience of getting bonked on the head.
Alright, so I got a conundrum for you.
Alright.
So, I'm doing this, trying to do this resume, and I found a format that I like that I want to kind of alter and use. I've got it pulled up, but it's got everything colored. So like the background is gray, all the bullets and highlights and all that have their own unique colors. It just looks like an artistic fiesta. So like, alright, let's make it all the same color. As soon as I do that, like all the text needs to be white. Make it white. Disappears off the background, which is gray. So I'm like, okay, let's, oh, it's probably thinking that it's a white paper, making the font white. It's gonna blend in with the background. All right, let's make it all black. Same thing.
What?
Yet, the text itself, portions of it are white, so it's visible. It's only the ones that are already in a color like blue or orange that are disappearing as soon as I touch them with a different color. What?
I was gonna say, is it like on a different plane? Do you have to move it forward on something like
I have no idea.
PowerPoint or something?
I mean, I'm gonna make it work, but at the same time, it's kind of just like, excuse you?
Right? Speaking of, I should probably start making schedules again. I've only done it once. I might use PowerPoint for it though. Might be easier.
Might be. Or Excel.
Or Excel. Well, I was gonna do Excel, but that makes it look more like a data sheet.
Well, you could always move out the grids. That way you use it to keep everything aligned in that grid, and then you can delete that part of the grid, so that way it's lined up how you want it. Or you can alter it so that way it looks like it, so it's like, hey, in the top left, streaming, then you've got like the weeks as it goes along, and you can go like, hey, I'll be streaming here, here, here for these dates, stuff like that. Or you could always take a picture of a calendar type of thing and just kind of fill in, like, you know, streaming it here at this time. Do like what some of the streamers do, where they literally have a calendar posted up and it's like, hey, you can see like these days I won't be here.
That's the smartest way to do it, because it's like, oh, you know, it's this full set of days, and then you can just write it like it's a digital calendar. You can write on it, be like, yep.
I mean, one of the old jobs when I was doing the schedules, I literally had a giant calendar pad on the table. So I would just write out in advance translating times from work to home. So that way when I did the schedules here, because it'd only take like 10 minutes. Because, I mean, I got really efficient at it.
Oh, is this a right guy? This is dopey funny. And I'm dead. Oh, nice. One life and that's it. Like real life.
Remember, kids, Mario may have
died
many
again.
lives, but you only have one.
You died for real, yeah. Oh, really? Oh, this is amazing. You take 3 hits and then you die and it's game over. Why didn't they put Rygar in Smash Brothers? Oh. The music's nice though.
Yeah.
Wah! 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 This is funny. Okay. I think it's easier to just jump on everything. It's also funnier.
Yeah.
Wah! You have to be on the ground to actually use the rope. Or I could just do that instead. No! Oh my god, that's amazing. Fall damage killed me. Like in real life.
I'm a real boy.
Oh, hello. That is a real person.
That is some real shady shit.
Ah! I apparently should do something. Oh, how the heck am I supposed to get back down without dying? Oh, okay. So I die off screen. I don't die from like a high height. What the heck are you? Oh. But yeah, Dread, if you ever notice that I end up coming home and I'm like streaming like every day, that means something went down at work.
Yeah.
Cause I still have like stuff I need to be studying and like content I need to be creating to make myself happy, and I don't feel happy, so I'm going to work on that. Tecmo presents. Wait, why am I still on NES? Stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Is on. I might need to talk to you about like bitrate stuff, because sometimes when my internet comes back, it takes a little bit to get back into phase or whatever.
Yeah.
I hate it.
We'll definitely try to help you out and find something a bit more stable. That's for damn sure.
It's frustrating. Ah. Oh my god, it's Fire Emblem. Only in JP. Who would have thunk?
Who would have bunked
Hey,
it?
Nintendo, I know you hear me. That's why you keep bonking my streams. I know you hear me.
Bonk.
Bonk it. Unpopular small streamer Excess Kinavera bashing Nintendo and then taking down his YouTube streams due to bashing Nintendo.
Bonk.
Bonk it. Oh my god, it's the same map as before. Who would have thunk?
Who would have really thunked today?
I'm sorry.
Alright, that's it. I'm saving this resume stuff for tomorrow.
No, finish. Finish, please.
No, it's not the fact of I don't want to finish it. It's that the more I'm trying to mess with it, the more it's... I don't have the proper tool.
Oh.
I don't have Word. And the more I'm messing with it here, the more I'm like, I'm ready to strangle something. So I'm like, tomorrow I'll have the advantage to be kind of left alone to actually do it. So... I wanted to kind of get a jump start on it, but I'll at least have something steady tomorrow. So I won't concern myself too much with it tonight. And that's not out of laziness, that's just out of, do I really want to type it up in something that's going to probably make me redo it anyway tomorrow?
Yeah, I guess it's, well, you know what to copy paste from at least, you know?
Yeah, but it's more like fighting the format to do it.
Oh yeah, I got you.
I mean, it's not that I don't know the information. In fact, I'm using someone else's resume from there as a template So I have all that. It's just, do I really want to try to... Okay, let me put all these pieces and touches and stuff only for it to not translate over, and then you gotta fight everything to pull up there because it was a different program, yada yada. Because this isn't like, oh, I'm doing this in WordPad or something like that.
Man, WordPad's fine.
No, it is for me. I love WordPad.
Yeah.
Although I prefer Notepad++.
Oh, you got the Notepad++?
Yep. And that sounds like, to anyone that's watching, that sounds like it's a joke, but no, it's an actual program. I'm not even joking.
It sounds like a Python C# thing.
Sad part is I actually pay for that program, Dreamweaver.
Mm-hmm.
So I could actually try to do websites and stuff like that if I wanted to. I did take that kind of programming in high school, so I could design websites. Not that good, but
I mean,
I could do it.
good and bad is considered good and bad based on if someone else can do it or not.
Well, it's not really the fact of like, oh, could someone else do it better? It's like, mine would just be minimal as hell.
Oh. Yeah, no, I get you. It's the boy with the long face. Oh, Youngby. Okay. Where J's are pronounced as Y's because of Nordic something or other. That's the funny part. A lot of Japanese stuff, or a lot of, like, when it comes to, I guess, genres, they're inspired by other parts of the world.
I mean, usually some stories are better than, you know, creating one. And I don't mean that from like copying stuff, but like usually ideas come from other ideas.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because inspiration's all around us if you know where you're looking.
Mm-hmm. But also at the same time, back in the day, it was harder to do stuff like this because traveling wasn't as easy, or translating wasn't as easy, or, you know, learning stuff wasn't as easy based on worldly stuff because the internet wasn't as much of a thing as it is now.
Yeah.
Ain't no way this game will get translated because it's too dang big. Even though people have already done it, but, you know, whatever.
Well, I might be getting a new game soon, I guess.
Is that so?
Yeah. There's a game I'm interested in getting, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah. There was a story I was following for the longest time with the original Mortal Kombat series. Now that there's this new Mortal Kombat 1, they've basically reset the timeline. So we have a new cast of characters, but some of them are not new, they're old. It's just like, okay, well, since it's a new time period, not like new time period, but like everything's reset. So it's interesting to see these alternate versions of characters we know.
I got you. Oh, well, that's kind of like what they did with Sub-Zero or something, and Cyrax or something.
If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, kind of the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I could spoil the story for you if you want.
It's not for me, it's for anyone who watches the VOD.
So I'm gonna put this in such a way that it spoils and not spoils, so you can have fun with the game.
Okay. Yeah.
Long story short, there's an end game to all of Mortal Kombat, and what I mean by that is like there's no greater power to chase, there's no greater threat than the one that actually regulates everything time-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this new character in 11 called Chronica, and essentially once something gets further along enough to where she is basically like, okay, this world is on a path that I do not like, whim, there's a safeguard in place, so she has to get all these pieces so that way she can do it. The problem is everyone doesn't agree with that idea because, I mean, people have to have control. So it becomes this big fight to try to get these pieces and get to this thing that controls time. But in doing so, we figure out that not only, we defeat that person, but in doing so, we have rewinded time so far that a lot of people don't exist anymore. So it becomes this weird cavalcade of like, how do we move forward without destroying the object we just won? So then we have to travel in our past to go back forward, which that makes sense since we literally reset all the way back to the beginning of everything. So we have to somehow jump in our past further along in the timeline to go back to the events before that big fight. So that way when we go back to that fight, we can change its outcome.
Yeah,
and in doing so,
you don't erase anything, before it or whatever.
Yeah. So somehow in doing so, we win. But that future is still our future, no matter, because it's in an existing past. So we can't go back to that existing past and just we skip over this and go forward. Because we would lose that fight. So it's kind of that placeholder to if we want to continue forward without that problem. So our character, one of the characters became a god and essentially is now in control of everything. So he's now reshaped everything in his image. So that's why the new Mortal Kombat is called Mortal Kombat 1, because it's literally the restart of everything.
Oh my gosh. If anyone could do that with any series, they would have by now. That's weird.
And the thing is, a lot of it is the same characters that we have existed before, but it's alternate versions of them. So stuff like the I want to say wizard, but I feel like that's wrong. But like Shang Tsung, there's now a new, younger version of him. We still have some other characters, and these are stuff in trailers. This is not spoilers from the game. So we have some pre-existing characters that are now in an alternate style as far as how they go about their stories and everything, but somehow exist. How there's the feud between Scorpion and Sub-Zero? Yeah, in this one they're brothers. So it's just little stuff like that that's changing everything. So it's just everything's alternate. Raiden's not a god, but he's in this one, so it's interesting to see how a mortal version of Raiden is.
He was never a god. Oh, okay, I see.
Well, he was empowered to be a god. He wasn't a god per se. He was literally, chosen to fight for humanity, and doing so was imbued with the power of a god.
Okay.
Or at least that's the way they explain it. So, Raiden could give up his power anytime he wants to someone that was worthy. So, in doing so, you know, we're now in a trouble-free future where everything's been designed and moved forward as such. But you still have a cavalcade of old characters and new characters. Because our main character is like, well, they should get a chance to live and correct their mistakes. But the problem is those characters don't exist anymore, so they now exist again, but with different backgrounds to them.
Different timeline, yeah. Alternate universe.
Yeah. Yep. Somehow connected to the old one.
Isekai, yeah.
Whoopee.
Hey man, you know how people say that sometimes they can remember things from their past lives? That's how it goes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you want, I can send you the updated snake.
Oh yeah, it's done?
She sent those long before yesterday was over. Like,
Yeah, but
way before she showed off to Axaru, his character. She got mine done in like 10 minutes.
yeah, but I didn't know if she she sent them probably to you. Unless
Yeah,
it's in
she sent them in private.
Yeah. That's up to you. If so, I'll do it. I'll switch it.
I'll send them to you, but I won't. Like, make it up. You have to do it now thing.
I mean, it's not like it takes long to do. It's an image swap. It's like putting on different clothes.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Let's take a look. Okay. Let me go ahead and open that and save that and stuff.
I will say though, and it's odd to say it like this, the character feels like it has less detail, but is more not anime, but like more character, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's more stylized.
Yeah.
Yep. That is correct. That's a normal thing though.
Yeah.
Like when you take an aspect and like what you had It's like when you first draw as a child, you have a lot of details on stuff, but you don't have anatomy done well. But then when you get older, you understand anatomy better, but you take shortcuts so it doesn't look as detailed as it used to, kind of, sort of, because you're trying to get a certain point across. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I sent you the other one that she did.
Oh,
just
which
in
one
case,
did you want
just
me
to
to do?
You can do the first one.
Okay. The multi one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
I mean, ultimately, it's both up to you, but
if I'm trying to represent you, I need to represent you properly. Otherwise, it is disrespectful.
No. That sounds way worse than in my head somehow.
Why?
If I gotta represent you, man, I gotta do it right.
I'm just saying.
No disrespect, man.
I'm just saying, man. If I would want to be respected
I
properly.
hate myself sometimes.
You have problems, dude. It's not surprising in the slightest.
No, there's such thing as manners and being respectful, but
yeah,
in my head, ADHD, it just went. I think that was more on my end than anything.
Oh, okay. Alright, I'm gonna let that play through, and I'm going to go ahead and set this up. Let the music go because I love this song anyway.
I was gonna say, am I correct in assuming this is Yoshi's Island?
Indeed. Super Mario Yoshi Island, which they spell on the title screen in Japanese as Yasi.
I really need to sit down and try to learn Japanese with you.
Are you sure?
Well, if we plan to visit a place, I would like to at least understand something.
The real question is, would you
I feel like I
rather
kind of want to get to
conversation
Not exactly.
or read signs?
A bit of both. Kind of like how I am with Spanish. I can't really speak it that well, but if someone speaks something at me, I can kind of sound it out in my own head to understand what the general gist of it is. So if I were to try to read something, or if someone tries to be like, hey, can you help or do this or move, I at least have some semblance of like, oh, from the tone, it's I need to get the hell out of the way or something like that, you know? Or at least have a sense of direction.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I find it kind of funny because most of the videos I've seen over there, it seems like they have accommodations for English speakers anyway. But I'd rather have it, not need it, not have it.
It's mostly, I think it's mostly because they don't want to feel so awkward. Because it's like usually if they're approached by like people who speak English, they feel like overwhelmed. They're like, oh, Because them knowing English is about as like us knowing Japanese. It's like, yeah, sure, I've been to English class, sure, I've learned a little bit, but have I had a chance to actually practice it with people who actually speak English as opposed to people learning the language, other Japanese people learning the language in school? No, not really. So all I really know is, hello, how are you? Have a nice day, or something like that. Or where do you want to go, or something like that, or are you okay, and stuff like that. But not necessarily something like, would you like to go to the store? Would you like to accommodate me? And
would you like to help me move in and find a job?
Yeah, exactly. Or would you like to come shopping with me or something? Kaimashou ka? Something like that. Anyway. Okay. Fugi. But yeah, stuff like that. Or, sign, like, not necessarily sign language per se, but like using signs, pointing to things in a way that will get the point across.
Yeah.
Because that's the funny thing about like when learning languages, it's like, oh, I'm looking at like a Germanic language. It's like I may not be able to necessarily understand what I see, but I can at least sound it out. As opposed to, oh, I'm looking at Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Russian. They all have different symbols. I can't read this because I don't know how to pronounce this type situation. So like I could be like, hey guys, look at this, and you'd be like, what are you showing us? We can't read this. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. And stuff like that. I did that one time. I remember I was showing someone the weather, and I had forgotten that I had my weather set in Japanese. And so they looked at it and they were like, I can't. And it was like, I can't read Japanese, bro. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot. So it was kind of.
Well, it looks Greek to me. Then find someone to read Greek. No, it's a form of expression. Why do you have it in Greek anyway? It's not in Greek. It's just an expression.
It's an expression. Well, my expression is anger. But no, it's fun. It's a fun thing to me. It's like, I guess what makes it odd to most people is like, usually people are like, oh yeah, I want to learn Japanese because I want to be able to watch anime without subtitles, which is true. Or I want to learn Japanese because of how much anime I've watched or how much manga I've read and stuff like that. And I'm just like, if someone asks me that, I'll be like, no, it's not because of anime. No, it's not because of manga. And they're gonna be like, well then, why do you want to learn Japanese? And I'm just like, I've just always felt fascinated to want to learn Japanese.
Yeah.
And within that, I'll end up learning the culture as well, the more I learn about it.
The more you know, you know?
I haven't really watched much anime in a long time, so it's not like I'm some hentai gaijin, dojin searcher or something. I just want to learn the language, and that's just like perverted, like, you know, material or whatever. So nah. Some people want to do it because they want to get into like music, Japanese music and stuff. I know 2 people like that, not personally obviously, but like people who have done that. So that's the thing. But yeah, I'm just fascinated really, so I want to learn it, and I've learned more now than ever, and I'm happy about that. So, but then they'll just be like, oh, you're learning Japanese, eh? Speak to me in Japanese. And I'm just like, Nihongo wa muzukashii desu. And they're like, yeah, I don't know what you said, but you said something. And I'm like, yeah, I said Japanese is difficult. Or like, Nihongo o benkyou sureba, Nihongo o benkyou suru no wa tanoshii desu. Learning Japanese is fun. Demo muzukashii yo ne. But it's difficult. But I can't say things fast. The thing is, it sounds fast, but when you're able to hear it, it just sounds like long words, in all honesty, kind of like with German. But they do actually react and speak fast. Sometimes, like, you know how when we say we don't just straight up go right into the next thing. We use as a pause to actually think. But a lot of times, they'll end up saying, like, the Japanese sentences going ano and going right into it, ano, eto, and right into the next sentence, as if they didn't really need that pause. And man, Google is destroying my computer right now. I gotta switch to Mozilla or something, because it is exploding for no reason. Alright, let me see. At least the music's good, so it doesn't matter. With the slap bass and stuff. Right. actually been a while since I've changed these images. When it's asking me to log into it again, so.
Seems very weird.
I mean, not weird per se. It's been a while since I had them saved.
Looks like your Switch is about to go in standby.
It already has.
No. I was gonna say, it's still showing it for us. It's just, like, grayed out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
It went into screen burn-in reduction mode. Welcome to the interwebs. What's your social security? You stop asking me about my social security. Ah. Not all places use that anyway. That's the funny part. So what was the other thing you did then since you stopped doing the resume?
Do I know?
So what are you doing now then since you stopped doing the resume?
Oh, I'm messing with one of my little portables.
Okay. The Me 12 5000.
There's a couple of ROM hacks I have for Super Metroid, and I'm playing one of them.
Oh, okay. Like I said, guys, check out his channel because he loves Metroid. He's a Metroid fanatic. I'm telling you, Dread's got the goods when it comes to Metroid.
Yeah, but I can't post about it very well, so get ready for disappointment.
I mean, some you could.
Salutations, my friend. I don't even know why I went there. Anyway.
I mean, adios.
Fine. Adios, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, that's one thing I need to do is load up some ROM hacks. And just record those and do those.
I mean, people make a living off of it. Because
I know they do.
It's still community-based stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
People can do their cease and desist, sure, but I mean, if it's that, whatever. But the thing that bothers me about that sometimes is that, sometimes people do it because they feel like, they really like the series, but the series hasn't been receiving attention in the past 20, 30, 40 years. So they're like, well, I want to make something that people can enjoy. And then the moment you do it, they're like, we still own this property, so you can't do that. And it's like, okay. If you don't care about it, it's like the whole, you don't care about something or someone until they get famous type of situation.
Which is a weird conundrum to be a part of. But life is as it is. Unless you can be selfish off of it, a lot of people don't care.
Yeah. Gotta benefit from it or something.
Yeah.
So you didn't come up with this idea, You can't. You're just adding to it. You were inspired by this. So.
Oh, this was my idea. That should be, compensated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But as far as the whole Metroid thing, like, I grew up with the series. I've been around for a minute. It's kind of like me and Destiny. I've been around for so long that even the idea of, like, do I really want to stop playing now? I mean, yeah, sure, it's gone into a bad direction, but that doesn't mean necessarily that... I've been a part of it for a better part of a decade. I'm not getting off that train that easily at this point.
Well, you said that you wanted to stop. You never really said why you wanted to stop. I didn't understand why you would want to stop playing a game that you enjoyed so much, unless it was, like, becoming toxic or something, so...
So, let me clarify that. because a lot of it's not enjoyment. It really isn't.
Okay.
The game has divulged itself into a whole different direction to the point that it's become very monotonous, and a lot of the avenues, it's one of those things that you've seen it grow for so long that now it's becoming an issue because you can tell where the priorities have gone. Because now it's no longer necessarily about you. But the problem is there's so little transparency in a lot of it that a lot of people are having to make their own accusations on what's really going on. And I mean, a lot of it is kind of just seeing it from different sides and having to guess what the hell happened. But a lot of it is very clearly transparent as far as like, oh, well, this, because we've had clues in the past that stuff has happened. And a lot of people tend to roll with the logic that if you've done it once, then there is no, it's easier to do it a second time.
Yeah.
So we've had issues with Bungie, the developer of Destiny, for so long that we've had like, okay, the game's not as fun for people that have been playing it for so long. And it is like, it's just kind of gone downhill for a lot of people that have been with the series. But if you're brand new coming into it, it's like, oh my god, there's all these things you could do. There's all this stuff that's here. All these different avenues you could enjoy. But when you've been there and you've done everything, by the time the next thing comes out, it's kind of the equivalent of like, the hell is this? I paid $60 for this?
Exactly.
And the thing that's killing the game is the fact that it's a live service game. So it's really hard to meet that demand that they've kind of set out and promised. But they're still trying to do it anyway. It's just now it's like, oh, well, we're not worrying about this anymore. Oh, well, we're not doing this anymore. Oh, well, this is what you're going to get instead of this. And it's just, it's all over the place. Like, the best way I can explain this whole situation to make it understandable for anyone that's watching or even you is imagine this as a restaurant. This is something that you're not really used to as far as the type of restaurant, as far as like the menu or food that they offer. But slowly over time, you've noticed stuff of like, oh, well, now you got to be charged to get into, like, at first it was, you had to make reservations. You had to have something along with it, and you had to pay for that reservation to even get in and order on top of what you're paying for. But back then it was simple, it was new, it was something exciting, so everything in there was brand new to you. Now you've gone there for a few years, and over the years you've watched new things come in. They take out old parts of the menu to kind of help freshen it up, kind of bring in some new atmosphere, bring in some art, decorate the place a bit every now and then. They change it up as they come and go. Every now and then they'll do seasonal stuff to dress up, minor little things like that. But sometimes they'll do stuff and they'll do it once and kind of like, all right, we're not doing that again. And much to everyone's dismay, they tend to do that for stuff that they do anyway. So a lot of the logic behind it is very broken in how they do stuff. So like, there's been a couple scandals over the early on in Destiny. We had a thing where they were throttling the XP you were getting to try to encourage you to buy extra shit, essentially. So the only equivalent is like, you give less food but keep it the same price, but you don't tell people you're giving less in the hopes that they would buy more food.
Right.
So they're kind of like withholding back in that avenue. And, they got called out on it, etc., etc. And now it's gotten to the point where a lot of the logic is, it's not making sense. Where it's like, well, let's just give this place a theme. Let's say they're like Italian. So they do stuff like gyros, pizza, calzones type of thing, whatever. And a lot of people aren't eating certain ingredients. So because there's not a lot of complaint from that, not exactly, the people messing with it, but a lot of complaint from it, they've gotten rid of it and changed it because no one was talking about it. And now
I get it.
They try to change it up, and now there's a lot of complaints and stuff about it, but it's from the people that don't visit that often. So instead of the people that are always there, they're looking at it from the outside perspective of like, well, these people don't come in that often, so these are the people I need to worry about because these people's opinions are what are going to come back. Because if I can convince these people that don't come here that often, I'm going to bring in more people, is the way it seems to be getting looked at. But in doing so, you're screwing over the people that are always there.
Loyal, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff keeps getting changed, or a lot of stuff keeps getting removed, or a lot of things keep getting brought back in a way that's different than what it was, but more trimmed down than what it was. So no matter that you've paid for it, it's now something's different. And even now, a lot of it is like, oh, well, we're increasing prices for this, or we're doing stuff for this, and we're changing this, and it's just... Listen, I'm here to finish out a story that I enjoy, but everything else is just getting way too... Like, it's a career to play that game. It is not a come in and chill for a few minutes. This is, you're putting in 30, 40 hours a week to get shit done.
Yeah.
And the main complaint that a lot of people that have played the game like me, where you've been there for so long, is that there's not enough new stuff to do. And the other issue of it is that they keep trying to retake old stuff and bring it back and like freshen it up. But the problem is that when they do it, a lot of it is unwelcome changes. Because for the sake of something like, oh, well, you know, it was too easy before, it was too mundane, so we tried to spice it up a little bit so that way it can be different, and in doing so, you've trimmed down a lot of it or taken out what was considered good, and now it's not as fun. I don't get, like, the best way I can explain it is, imagine if a board game company that owned, I can't remember the name, I don't really care to remember the name, like Battleship. If I brought back Battleship and I sat there and said, instead of it being these pieces, we're going to take out 2 of the boats, but we're going to bring in 1 brand new one. And now this one takes 7 hits instead of 5.
Oh.
Like yeah, that seems kind of like a weird change, but not one that you could get, you know, unused to it. And now it's, oh, okay, depending on what type of battleships you have determines the type of damages you can do. So, like, if you have this battleship, it, instead of being a single hit on, like, D1, it now infects everything in a 3x3 grid in D1. And everything's just kind of gotten complicated for the sense of, like, oh, well, it's got to be different. It's got to be this new thing. It's got to be this. Yada, yada. So something that seemed really fun and enjoyable is now a, okay, well, did you level this up properly? Did you do this? Did you go out and get this? Or, oh, God forbid, you didn't buy this part of the season pass because you didn't know it wasn't this part of the, you know, pack. So it's just, it's this weird, toxic, all over the place thing. And there have been many jokes that have spawned from that game to kind of emphasize how bad it's been. But at the same time, like, if you're there playing it, you can make it enjoyable.
Right.
But there just tends to be a lot of different directions and attitudes about everything. So legitimately, if you've been playing the game or you've played the game before, I tell people, like, yeah, you know, it's not a bad thing to go back and play. If you're brand new to the game, I just tell you to stay away with a 5-foot pole. Don't even go near it.
But I mean, to a new person, they're not gonna see the you know, the politics of what had gone through and whatnot between how it started to what it is now.
Well, it's not necessarily the politics. It's just a lot of stuff is missing or not detailed or not together. Like, we've had issues where every so often they bring out events to bring in new people and stuff doesn't work for them. And a lot of it tends to go unfixed for so long that it's not even funny. Like, this is your experience and you're already screwed because someone didn't realize this, or there was an oversight, or this wasn't tested. Like, the best way I can give you is, I want to say December 2 years ago, they came out with this 30th anniversary edition expansion to Destiny. And it was just Bungie celebrating stuff over the years. So they had certain events that were reminders of their history. They had certain weapons and armor sets that you could get that were like bringing in from other games, like different styles, like Halo, Marathon, etc. And in one of the events they brought in was this new game mode that they called Dares of Eternity. And the whole thing's kind of a fourth wall break. It's essentially these gods that have knowledge outside of your universe that are bringing us together for this interdimensional show. But we don't understand it, kind of thing. But the problem was there was a certain type of enemy that you needed to do the main game for to get something to damage them. In an effort to spice up the game, they had specific enemy types that you had to have a gun to stun them so you could do damage. So you had barrier ones that would create an indestructible barrier, so you needed something to pierce that barrier to stun them so you can continue doing damage. Or you needed a unstoppable one, so that way they're not constantly charging you and trying to kill you in 2 seconds. Or you would have one that would be constantly healing, so you would have to overload them so that way they would be allowed to take damage. But you had to play the main game and level up an artifact for that season, whatever that you would do, in order to get those mods to damage it.
Okay.
When they released it, they forced everyone into this game for the first time. So if you were brand new, you were stuck and couldn't do jack because you couldn't move the game along. It would just keep resetting you like until you finished it. So it literally became a community effort to quote unquote save the blueberries. Just for those that don't know. So in Destiny, everyone's name is blue that's not in your team. So any random people, their name is always blue, or on the radar is like a little blue dot. So it looks like a blueberry, so everyone calls them blueberries. So we had that happen. And the thing is, this wasn't like we can easily fix that. It was like, we're probably not going to be able to fix this for like the next month. And what was worse is that I'm pretty sure, because they have a forum for, people writing in and saying like, hey, this is an issue, yada yada. But more often than not, it's up to the community to try to rally together to make this apparent to people. So even though it's probably, proposed on the forum and became like a lot of new people were like, hey, having this issue, hey, this sucks, hey, this, can't continue forward, yada yada. Nothing was being done about it. And by the point that we realized this was an issue, this had been out for 2 months. And we were being told like, yeah, this is probably going to be going on for another month before we can actually, figure out how to fix this. So you get a lot of these moments that kind of just kill the game for people.
I get it. Yeah, it basically becomes a time-limited thing at that point, which is not how that should be done. No, I get it. I got you.
So, like I said, if you've been playing the game, it won't be as bad because if something breaks, it's not going to affect you majorly. But if you're brand new, chances are something's going to be, bugged, or something's going to be broken, or something's going to go against you. So even though you can't do it, there's going to be something that's just like, oh, well, glad I could play this for 5 seconds. I'm glad I spent $100 to do this for 5 minutes. So it's really hard to recommend a game. Like, the only way I can truly explain it is like, hey, there's this really fun dirt bike track that we could go ride around on. If you don't own a dirt bike and you go to rent one of theirs, but theirs is constantly being used and just constantly breaking down, and it's like, well, that was the only dirt bike we had, so I guess you're kind of shit out of luck. It's really hard to have fun, if that's kind of the environment you're going to. It doesn't really encourage you to, hey, let me go get a dirt bike track. It's like, hey, this is a shitty dirt bike track.
Oh, yeah, that's stupid. Come on. No, I get it though. Why?
So.
Are there any other games that are like that, where it's like the game can't really be played properly because the update has basically broken the past stuff, so you can't get past certain things now because of that?
As far as titles that I know, not really.
Okay.
But there's a lot of games nowadays, like Call of Duty's a big one, where as soon as you get into stuff, it's constantly like, oh, here's this battle pass, or here's the seasonal thing, so that way you could get cosmetics or earn certain maps or DLC to play or buy them, but to, customize and move on, yada yada. But the problem is that the game's only out for a year. So by the time you spend the money to like buy the season pass to get half of the stuff, game's already gone, moved on to the next game with year. So it's really hard to recommend someone to play the game 3 months and there's basically no one there.
Okay.
Lately, they've kind of done something to alleviate that, which I'm kind of respecting. And that's they've made the multiplayer separate from the main story parts of the game. So you can buy the latest story Call of Duty, and whatever you would earn from that can affect your multiplayer aspect of it. So you could have different styles or different unlocks from different games that are a part of your multiplayer look.
Okay.
The only caveat is that certain features or certain weapons or something like that are hyper specific to that game, so it won't show up in that multiplayer. But I mean, I figure that's a better system than nothing.
Yeah.
But the only thing is that a lot of newer titles are just broken out of the box on launch.
Because I don't know when, like what year this began, but it may have been the era, like the Xbox 360 era, but it seems like every time a game was coming out, because this is when I started noticing it, every time a game came out, it required an update. Or that when the game came out, there was a day one update every single time. And I was like,
360 sounds about right for that.
Yeah, 360 and Wii. Well,
not really the Wii, but 360 and PlayStation.
Yeah, definitely 360. I still own that. I guarantee you, if I turned that thing on right now, it would probably never stop updating.
Are you kidding me? My one, if I leave it off for 2 weeks, it's like, hey, we got an update for you. It's like 300 megabytes, but then it takes like 2 hours to install it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I hate it. So, I'm just like, man, I remember when, I get it, there were times where people would release like, what's it called? Reva.
What are you trying to explain?
Sometimes games come out, and they come out and you're like, okay, yeah, that was the game. But later on, they'll re-release them. You won't really know about it.
Remaster them?
Not remaster. REV.
Revision?
Yeah, revisions. So, because that's to fix bugs and stuff later. But
yeah.
You don't really notice it when you have your copy because you just think that's the game. But now, everything is, well, we made this game, now here's an update. Because the game isn't going to function unless you have this update that we decided to put. I guess it's like a last minute patch. And sometimes, I remember they did it for like Pokemon Sun and Moon. There was like a patch released so that because people, you had leaked the game had gotten leaked, so people had gotten it and they were going online and getting hacked or not getting hacked, but getting banned because they were being dumb enough to go online on something that wasn't even released yet. So the update, I guess, was to remedy or just to show that, hey, you got the actual game or something, as opposed to getting the version that was leaked, that wasn't, you know, out yet and stuff or whatever. But
Yeah.
before then, it was like, okay, well, we released this because the game wasn't finished or something. It's like, man, games used to be finished. Now, there's not a single solitary game on this earth that is released finished. Not like without, that doesn't need an update, like download, even for the Switch. So I'm just like, wow, man, nothing's ever just finished, you know, anymore.
Yeah.
It's like it's a fear thing now. Since things cost money, there's a fear that, oh, and since there aren't really any beta testers, well, I'm not gonna say there aren't any beta testers, but you know, it's like they want the people who buy the game to test it so that, you know, they can get the feedback. And then they're like, I'm paying, you know, $60-$70 for this, for choppy this that's running at like 15 FPS. And so, you know, and I think the main reason for that though is because when they develop the games, they're not developing it on the system, they're developing it on their beefy PCs. And so when they port it to the consoles, they don't run the same way. And that's why everyone always says PC Master Race, whatever, and stuff. But, you know.
Well, I mean, most things are developed on a PC anyway, even when it was for the older stuff.
Right.
It was designed in such a way to be for whatever they thought that revision of hardware was. I mean, funny enough, I think for the Wii, the development kit for it was literally GameCube. Because it was going to be able to play GameCube stuff, so they basically just modified a GameCube that way.
Yeah. But that was them doing it for something they knew it was going to be for that, though. It wasn't... I developed this really cool game that's going to be really awesome. And then it's like, well, we hope it's going to look good on, you know, this console, and then it barely runs because the console can't handle it.
Yeah.
They didn't keep it in mind that it was going to be made for that. So certain consoles run the game worse than others because of that.
Well, the other thing too is that a lot of the problem with modern stuff now is that it's gotten so bad because we have so many complications with the way we can make stuff nowadays. And I mean that more for the hardware side. So it's really hard to be like, okay, will this work for this graphics card, this combo? Will it work for this memory? You know, it's just become a really bad spiral of like, how is this gonna? Is this? Can this eat?
Oh, one time, that's it? Huh. I think you can do it multiple times in the English version. Oh well. But yeah, that was just something I always noticed. If it wasn't that, it was, hey, DLC. And when that started with Nintendo, I was like, man, come on, don't do like everybody else. But lo and behold. Everything has to have a price point because it's developed, so I mean, it's pretty obvious that things are gonna cost money because they weren't made for free, so obviously you need some sort of compensation for your efforts, and I understand that 100%, so I don't really, you know, but when you have a game that costs $60, and in order to get the quote-unquote full game with everything on it, it ends up averaging out to be maybe $130 because of all the extra skins and stuff.
I mean, to
Then
me,
the game
free to
doesn't
play
cost
has just been a
$60.
big scam. Like, the original idea behind it was a nice thing. For people that made those free games, it was like, hey, if you want to help support the developer, we have these additional things that you could buy that aren't important to that game. It's just, you know, it's cosmetic stuff, so that way it helps support that developer. Which, that was a nice idea. But then you get these AAA studios that honestly don't freaking need it.
Yeah.
That are essentially taking advantage of it as like, well, you know, we did make billions of dollars off this game, but why should we pay for it? You know? I mean, if you want to see this game progress, you got to show us by paying those developers yourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, we hosted it, we net marketed it, we got everything rolling for it. But if you want to see that team succeed, it's kind of like tipping now for me, where I get the idea of tipping, but the fact that a lot of places use that as like, oh, well, you know, you need to pay for that salary.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, tips shouldn't be a charity. That should just be a sign of appreciation.
Right. It's like
and there's no greater appreciation than money, apparently.
there's tips are like, I guess there's no difference between tips and gratuity. So I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I get it. It's like, if I made this, I don't want to get paid for it unless I say no, I'm good. I just wanted to make it because out of the kindness of my heart. Until you're like, wait a minute, I actually could be making money doing something like this because apparently I do have a knack for it. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or you have it where, going back to, you know, if you want these businesses or these developers to succeed, you need to, you know, show them you care by giving them this, you know, paying them this money. I think that's another reason why people would fear trying to make a game or developing a game, and that's one of the reasons why people would either be on green light or they would do like Kickstarter. Because they don't want to spend time making a game only for it to fail. Since money has become more and more precious these days. So, you know. And it's just like when people they're like, I'm not gonna buy this game unless a reviewer that I hold near and dear to my heart says it's a good game. Otherwise, I'm not gonna buy the game. And my thing I used to always have about that is, this is my take, is that sure, you may hold this person in high regard, but it doesn't matter how much they play it. You may still like it more than they do. Or they may like it more than you do.
That's how I am
watching them.
with a couple of titles.
Yeah. Like, both of you can be the most avid Metroid fan and like and hate the same game. Like...
There's a lot of titles that a lot of Metroid people agree on, are generally just, like, they're not the worst, but they're not the greatest either.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everyone's hits a rough spot every now and then when they do something, so it's not all that bad.
Right.
But I mean, I definitely have a couple of hot takes on games that a lot of people, if they were to look at it now, it's just like, how could you? And at the same time, it's like, well, I have my reasonings for it. Like, a lot of people tend to forget that, yeah, something might have been bad when it came out, but if you had a genuine connection while you were doing something, as terrible as it may have been, it's gonna just mean that much more to you. Like
That
a
is
lot of
exactly right.
older titles for like the Atari 2600. If you were to try to play those now, it's like, yeah, those are genuine garbage to some people. Whereas other people, it's like, oh, I remember, playing this with my friend or playing this with my dad or, brother, sister, whatever. And for some people, that means a whole lot more than whether it was good or bad.
Right. That's why people tend to say a game is good based on the connection that they have with it, not necessarily the actual full content of the game, but what they remember when they got the game. There are plenty of like GB games that were made that were like probably rush licensed or just to make a quick buck that you wouldn't consider to be great, or like you would tell your folks about or tell your friends about. But since you grew up with it in the car a majority of the time, it holds a special connection to you.
Yeah. One of those titles for me is it's actually somewhat of a newer title. Dead Space 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's often regarded to people as like one of the worst in the Dead Space series, and that's just because by that point there was a lot of outside interference to make that game be what it shouldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people tend to disregard it as like, oh, this is where it went downhill, and it's like, I mean, the game had its moments. Was it the greatest as far as like what the other games were? No. But was it necessarily the worst game ever? And it's like, no. But the problem is everyone's got to have this strong opinion about everything nowadays. Does it flash lights? Does it do this? Is it making me money? And it's like, no, then it's useless. And it's like, can't something just exist to be? Where this whole, does it serve me a purpose thing come in, to everything. Some games it's nice to just load up, sit down, and chill. Some people like to go overdo it on their games, Like, to me, one of the biggest things, and I will say this, and I have no regrets saying it.
Okay.
I think sports games are kind of a waste, and I don't mean it that they shouldn't exist. I just mean in general, those games are a waste of any resource put to them, period. And that's because most of them are just marketing trash. That's literally what they are. It is, hey, you need to spend money to spend even more money so that way you can spend money of stuff that we've engineered. Not even, hey, you need to buy this and play it to enjoy it. It's this, oh, hey, this highly marketized thing is now this other, highly marketized thing to get you to, you need to fit in. You gotta have this, you gotta have this, you gotta do this. And it has strayed way farther than it should have from what it ever should have been.
I can understand.
Because I know for some people you can't play sports, so to have this, because that's what video games are. It's just this thing to imagine, this fantasy of doing something you normally can't do. That's why I like sci-fi games. You can't go on an intergalactic adventure across space. You can't be in medieval times, saving a kingdom, stuff like that. So, to each their own when it comes to games.
Yeah, no, I do get that, especially and it is like a marketing scheme. So, well, no, I'm not gonna say scheme, but like, yeah, because you make like, FIFA, NK, whatever, NBA, Madden, whatever. Next year, even though it's not the next year yet, and you play the game on a system instead of going out to go play it, type of thing. And mostly like kids tend to play those games, and but they also play those games in real life as well. I don't. Then again, I personally don't know too many like dads that, and I know it's like gender profiling, but like dads or whatever playing NBA or FIFA on a system or whatever, because obviously they're too old to play the actual thing, but like you don't see them doing that. Maybe golf is a little different just because it's slower, I guess. Slower paced, I guess. Maybe even tennis. But not necessarily football or basketball, and whatnot. So I get it though. No, my biggest beef is Medal of Honor.
Oh
And
god.
my only reasoning for that though is because Medal of Honor, if I recall correctly, is supposed to be like based on actual wars and stuff, right?
Kind of. That's kind of where Call of Duty is more supposed to be like that.
Call of Duty.
Because like,
okay.
yeah, because a lot of it is loosely based on events that happen in history, but it's usually adjusted to fit a narrative. So it's taking real events like World at War, for that was all centered around World War II and the stuff that happened during that time. But again, because there's a background story going on, it's the events are happening, the events are real. It's that, you know, they created a set of characters during that struggle. Stuff that was going on to better fit whatever story type of driven pace they're trying to create.
Mm-hmm.
Medal of Honor, I kind of feel is in the same boat, but it's a series I'm not really familiar with all that much. Like, I know a lot of, I guess, conversations around it, but not really what it is.
Right.
Because stuff like Splinter Cell, I wasn't really around for. Older Call of Duties, not really. Hell, just a lot of Tom Clancy games in general, I'm not really familiar with.
Okay. Yeah, Far Cry and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, I've been playing Metroid this whole time.
No, I know.
Oh no, recording.
Yeah, somehow I knew. Viewers at home, yeah, this is what he's been doing when he said no commentary. Basically, what he does is he plays the game. He's playing through the game, but he, you know, mutes his mic, so he's doing whatever, whether it be like chatting with me or chatting with anyone else or doing whatever while he's playing the game, because he doesn't have to have like full attention on it because he's doing it for the, you know, for the playthrough of the thrill and whatnot. You know, he's beaten it millions of times, so. And so now he doesn't have to worry about, you know, whether or not he says anything weird or odd or anything, or actually talking through the game. So it just became a walkthrough instead of like a let's play or anything like that.
Yeah, and I don't know if people will appreciate this. I'm one of those people that I do. But like when stuff coincides or there's like a small overlap of stuff, I tend to really enjoy the knowledge of like knowing about it, where it's like, oh, you know, like for example, in this case, it's like, where is this conversation taking place while I'm playing the game? And for those that actually care, 3 minutes 33 seconds into this should be part 5.
Wow.
Because I'm one of those people that I really like knowing those details of like, oh, well, while I was sitting here talking to you, this is what I was physically seeing and doing the entire time.
And now that's going to be someone's like Christmas memory, like how you remember stuff, or you remember watching a certain video on a certain day. It's like, I remember doing this in year 20 whatever on Christmas, and I was watching Dread Effects' Metroid stream, or not stream, Metroid.
While the family was in the living room watching National Lampoons or Christmas Story or whatever have you for your traditions. Right. Meanwhile, I was in another room ignoring the family, going like, "Oh God, is he gonna get past the boss?"
Exactly.
Yeah, that's got to be the weird thing, to jump on a different note. Being in the age that we are, it's no longer what did you do on your vacation, where'd you go for Christmas break. It is now what all did you get and what all did you buy on Christmas break? What were you doing at home? Oh, I was in the Philippines watching Mark do a charity stream.
Right? Yeah, yeah. That's true. It's kind of funny. That is an interesting thing to think about. Wow.
I mean, if you really want to spin it, it's kind of not that different now. Because it was like, hey, we went to Indianapolis to go watch a baseball game over that break. Or we went to Chicago to watch a football game over that break. It's just now we have more of a connection with stuff as we go. So it's like, hey, yeah, I was streaming. I was swimming in the beaches in Dubai, but, you know, I also was watching a new Netflix show that was really good while I was there.
Right. That I wouldn't have been able to see were I at home or something like that.
Unless I had ExpressVPN, yada yada. Insert ad here.
I need to grab something, man. I need to grab something. For sure. Oh. Where is... Oh, is this not in order of... Oh. What is the order? Oh, it's in alphabetical. That's why. No, I'm good. I was so confused. I was like, why is it like this? Oh, it's in alphabetical. That's why. Okay, let's not do that. I'd rather do it Pokedex wise. Thank you. That threw me off. Okay. As if I know my Pokedex. No, I just know by Jin. So. Okay, yeah, no. Now we've become those people that people have watched. On spring break or something. When people around you have gotten annoying and you just want to chill out. So before you start crying, you just like, oh, who's this person? And you say, oh, okay, well, this brightened my day. Scary thought, but that's the world we live in now. Anyone can become a content creator now, so it's kind of cool, you know. Yeah, there are only 5 Gen 1 ice types. God dang. Okay. Well, who's the first one in Gen 2? Weasel. Wow. Yeah, because this is gonna be successful. Man, if only they made a Metroid game for the N64.
I think that's what they were attempting to do with Melee. That's why they probably had that character like that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's exactly right. Same with Fire Emblem. That's why there isn't one on N64. It's the same thing. They were gonna make a lot of stuff for N64. It just didn't work due to models.
Yeah.
Mother 3 is a big example. So. Yeah.
I'm kind of glad they saved first-person Metroid like that. Well, first-person, but like a 3D Metroid for the GameCube. It just worked out far better.
Yeah.
Although it would be interesting to see what could have been.
Right. I'm sure there's still like scraps of something somewhere, like they did with some other stuff. It's just hard to find. There's always some data somewhere. But looking at beta content is always interesting. What moves do we have? Aura Beam. Rest of... Oh wait, that's not rest, is it? Is that rest?
Also, I do apologize if it goes somewhat quiet. I'm in a multi-stage boss fight.
You're good. I'm attempting to play Pokemon Stadium 2 in Japanese. So you're good. Which means I don't know the moves. I know some. Just based off of katakana. That's about it. I do want to use... I want to use Sneasel first. What is Sneasel's Japanese name? Nura. Okay. Nura. Fubuki. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Like, what? You're learning Japanese? Okay, play Pokemon in Japanese. It's like, it's not like that. That's not how it works. But it is fun to learn a different language in a video game.
Yeah.
Just like watching a television show in your targeted language. You'll remember stuff better, kind of. Because it interests you. Especially if it's something you've seen before, you'll lock on to certain things. Dodo. Ready? Oh, Ice Punch, okay. Double A, or double team. No, agility. Yep. Oh. I do like the I like the what's the word I'm looking for? The energeticness of the announcer.
Yeah. Alright, now part 2 of that boss fight.
Let's go. Frozen, let's go. Cold is empathy. What does this do? Damash. Oh. Oh, that's Feint Attack. Huh. Did you know that Dark type is actually called Evil type in Japanese?
Nope.
Yup.
Learning something new every day.
Uh-huh. There are a lot of like different Pokemon intricacies, region-based. Obviously, everyone knows about the old man who needed coffee, which was actually just a drunken old man in Japanese. Unless you didn't know that, but now you do. But yeah, for the viewers at home, Gen 2 is my favorite gen. It was the one I started with. Pokemon Crystal was my first Pokemon game ever. And funnily enough, it was on a bootleg cart. Well, it wasn't on a bootleg cart, it was on a multi-cart. Like, my father had traveled to Korea at some point, and he picked up some carts, and one of them was like a multi-cart, and it had Crystal on it, and that was my first experience with Pokemon. And I loved it. I felt spoiled because Crystal was the one that gave us animations, so going back to the older ones, I was confused. Animations and... Is that? Oh, okay. Real quick. Animations and holding items. Onidoriru. Oh, I didn't kill? Well, now I'm dead. Damn. Stopping us. I didn't say that. Oh. What's that?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forget if I put hard or not.
Forget what?
The difficulty of the game. I forget if I put it on as not.
Oh. I forgot that you could do difficulty.
Yeah, the only problem was later they started adding the game and again.
Oh my god, it's the Togetic that won the tournament or something. Ah. Anyway. Man, that one mud slap surely messed me up, huh? Missed though. Dead. Togetic looks cuter 3D than in 2D. That's one of the few times where I can actually say that. Aura beam. Good.
And the boss is
Nice.
I think I should point out too that Prime Trilogy on the Wii with sort of thing.
Say that again, you were cutting out.
I said I feel like I should point out that this is the GameCube version of the game and not the Prime Trilogy version of the game.
Is it better?
What?
Is it better?
No, this is the older game. It's not the collection one where it's got the Prime hack stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Essentially, Prime Trilogy is all on the Wii. Because it came out Prime 1 on the GameCube, Prime 2 on the GameCube, Prime 3 on the Wii. And then they took the scheme that they did for Prime 3 for the weapons and movement and all that, and they just translated over Prime 1 and Prime 2.
And made it a trilogy.
Because it was still
Yeah,
in that same generation of graphics and all that.
Right. It's like what they did with Mario All-Stars, basically.
Yeah.
God, I hate Mud Slap. I'm gonna lose because of this.
Oh, I know
Why?
this is gonna have fun processing this.
Hmm.
So one of the new visors tends to give a static effect in the background,
Mm-hmm.
which I need to kind of see invisible stuff. So any type of processing and all that, and this is gonna look lovely on any recording.
Okay.
But I will say though, there is actually one upgrade that they have specifically for this game that no other game has done that I kind of miss.
Okay.
So in this game, you had a sort of like bat-like sonar vision to see like different signals and stuff like that that were going on. So everything went dark, but you could see like the sound waves bouncing off of everything that you were doing.
Okay.
So it was kind of like you were looking around at everything like a bat,
Mm-hmm.
or what everyone thought like a bat would look like, as far as like how they would see stuff. The sad part is I'm actually a decent bit of the way through this game. Wait, you're playing Stadium?
I said that already.
No, it just hit me. Like, I'm looking at this like, wait, this is Stadium?
Stadium 2.
Oh, okay, that's why it seems a bit off to me. Stadium 2 was not one I really messed with.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with Stadium 2 because my cousin only had Stadium 1.
See, for me, I went to a school that had a like before and after school program for kids that couldn't exactly get dropped off on time or picked up on time.
Mm-hmm.
And what they called it was place. It was like a place for kids or a place to be. So that was the what they called it. And they had gaming quarters set up. So if you were on our side, we had the N64. If you were on the other side, which was the younger generation. So like for us, I think it was like 3 to 5, and the other side was like pre-K all the way up to 2nd grade.
Okay.
And on their side, I forget what they had. We had the N64, they had something else. I was never on that side to remember.
Oh.
Although they decided to spice it up every now and then and was like, alright, we're gonna take the small kids and we're gonna put them where the big kids are and the big kids where the small kids are. So instead of Legos, we had Mega Blocks and we're all like, the fuck is this shit? Man, we got chips!
Duplo
On their
blocks.
side, they're confused with board games like Scrabble and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We over there like, you know what? I forgot about Connect 4.
Yeah, exactly. Now you got the little kids playing chess. Eating the pieces.
Yeah. I know one time they had made the mistake of like allowing us to, because they had Summer Place too. They had made the mistake of allowing us to bring in our own stuff a lot of the times. So a lot of us would like bring in our own games for stuff.
gosh.
And there's one N64 title that if you know,
No.
you should never.
No.
Oh, I never showed anyone it. I had it, but it never went with me.
No. You got banned from school.
No. Although I had quite a few moments with that school that were kind of BS in a lot of moments. Like, for example, we had a, or at least at the time to me, my folks, unbeknownst to me, had subscribed to some, or at least my dad did, had subscribed to this magazine Surface that was about, like, cool items that you didn't know. Like, the whole shtick was things you never knew existed. So it was, like, all these different, like, shirts and collectibles and toys and gags. Like, it's the modern day equivalent of what I imagine everyone that would look at a 1950s comic ad to be like, you know, like, buy the X-ray specs or, you know, Prince Albert in a can kind of crap. But a lot of their stuff was geared toward adults, so a lot of it was adult jokes. And to me, it was just really cool to come in and just like, because I would get one every so often, so I'd always come in and show off, like, oh, did you know that they sold these little figurines for these movies, or they had a small scale version of the DeLoreans and from the different movies and stuff like that from Back to the Future. So that's why I brought it. And to anyone, that seems really, you know, innocent enough. Until you get to where there's like a t-shirt that just says it's all fun and games till someone loses a wiener. Doesn't matter what the context of the shirt is as far as the images, just that alone was enough to be like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
And for the context of the shirt, it's a bunch of stick figures around a campfire and someone loses their hot dog in the fire.
Yeah. That's what they call in Japan is yabai.
There was also another shirt I remember that was like pushing it, and it was save the trees, wipe your ass with an owl.
Oh, that's not okay.
Yes. And you have a little kid with a magazine in school with shirts and stuff on there that says this.
Nah, but they can't read. But the adults can.
Yep. This is elementary school.
Yeah.
There's one shirt on there, I can never say it right, but it always made me laugh. And it was essentially just a jab at the American healthcare system, where it was like, due to the policies on your insurance not meeting our hospital standards, our nurse is going to have to beat the living crap out of you.
Oh. Okay.
And I realize I'm cussing a little bit, so I'm trying to, like, tone it back.
I say this to both you and B12, and I'm just like, you guys can curse. This is a whatever channel, guys. It's not geared towards kids. I'm just playing. This is like NSO and chill. Y'all can.
Oh, it's not geared toward kids, but we're just playing, you know, games from like 20 years ago that's on Nintendo Switch from a Family Pass for people. But it's not for kids.
I mean, what kids you know can play games like this in 2023?
Okay, in modern times, probably hardly any.
Yeah, exactly.
I know me and the SO keep arguing a bit every now and then about how we're gonna deal with like kids growing up. Because the sad part is I'm probably gonna raise them on some older stuff, but let them have the newer stuff so they can be current. But it's just a matter of like, how would you go about the newer stuff?
I mean, the newer stuff they're just gonna grow up with. It's just like when I grew up with a computer. They'll just latch onto it and learn stuff on their own. The old stuff, however, might be a little tricky unless you start them out on it.
Well, I'm not going to just inundate them with, like, you know, here's some Looney Tunes, have fun, figure out, you know, if you can stick a penny in a light socket or not and live. But it's more like, you know, how do you, like, because a lot of this newer stuff, I am not going to lie, a lot of it is super, like, in my opinion, is super dumbed down. It really is.
It is. I agree.
Because, I mean, a modern-day kids show should be some kind of fun and learning, but it shouldn't be the equivalent of, like, here's flashing lights and, you know, moving colors.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's the tricky thing about being a parent nowadays is like a lot of stuff from older generations is not appropriate anymore. A lot of us get that. A lot of us understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But where's that line that you draw between your kid's going to understand it and someone else is going to get offended?
Awareness. 100% awareness. Awareness goes a long way. I think that people get less and less offended if people actually had awareness.
Yeah.
That's really all there is about it. People make fun of stuff that they don't understand. That's the first thing you have to understand. People make fun of things that they don't understand, and then they get away with that. And so when people do get offended, they're like, why are you getting offended? Why are you getting angry? What's wrong? I'm just saying what my folks said. I'm just saying how I grew up. And I'm like, yeah, but do you even understand what's going on? It's like, no, this is just what they said. And it's like, well, they probably said it because they didn't understand it either, sort of situation.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, it's all about awareness. I mean, if someone walks up to you and say, hey, I find that offensive, ask them why, and then they may let you know, and you'd be like, well, now I'm aware of what's going on, because obviously I'm not going to deal with every single culture in my life around me in my area. So if something is messed up, or if there's something that's not appropriate to say anymore that we used to say back in the day, then please let me know, because I want to know that sort of thing. I don't want to like outright be offensive. I like learning stuff. I like to actually get along with people. So yeah, I mean that's basically it, really. And that doesn't mean like sweep things under the rug that happened years ago because whatever. That it's more like that's still awareness. You still need to be aware of what happened so that you don't make the same mistakes that were made and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not difficult, really. But people make it difficult mostly because not only do they not understand, because they don't care to want to. So they're like, well, I've gotten so used to doing this. I've gotten so used to saying this. I'm not going to change now. And that's a bad mentality to have. That's stubbornness. Everyone has it. Everyone has a percentage of it. But it's not a good mentality to have. So yeah, when it comes to teaching your children, like, stuff in general, we make sure you keep up with current year and be careful what you say that was from the past, because they may end up saying the same thing, and the teachers are probably going to look at them like they're insane, and then they're going to wonder why their parents are still saying something that was said like 120 years ago or something.
Yeah.
It's like, it was fine for me to say when I was growing up. It's like, come on, man. If you say something like that makes you super ignorant.
Yeah. I will say though, there's a lot of things of yesteryear that seem really stupid to kind of lost on. Like,
I mean, like superstitious stuff?
Not really superstitious stuff, but to me, like, a lot of stuff that we grew up on that may not necessarily be considered good, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't understand how some of these were considered necessarily wrong or bad.
Oh.
Like, a lot of people, like, for Looney Tunes, like, you and I, we grew up on that stuff. We get that a lot of it was not for that generation as far as, like, sorry, not that generation. But not for the minds of today, because we grew up with that discipline. We grew up with that understanding that yes, this is, you know, it's a cartoon, it's fake.
Right.
We know that.
Right.
You know, we know we're not gonna build a giant Acme rocket and somehow, without blowing everything up, you know, go down the road at 500,000 miles an hour and live.
Yeah.
But at the same time, nowadays it just seems like everything's so dumbed down that if you were to look at that, it almost seems like, well, you know, Wile E. Coyote was doing that. Why can't I? Like, and it's just, I don't know. It just seems like a very weird lack of communication and understanding.
It is. It's an interesting thing to think about as well, because it's like when I thought, like I used, like I said, we watched that when we were growing up. I would watch a lot of that and Tom and Jerry as well, but I never thought to myself, even as a child, I'm gonna take a frying pan and hit somebody upside the head with it. Not in real life. even as a kid. I never thought that. Never wanted to do that. Sure, it's funny in cartoons. Yeah, your face gets flat and stuff. But I've never wanted to do that as a child. But you don't know if that's something that people will do these days, because if you look at the current stuff that's being shown or that has been come up with, at least with like mobile ads. Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about mobile ads yet. I'll save mobile ads for later. But like for other stuff, or like you know, cartoony stuff happens with like, or you know, people just end up imitating it. Then I mean, I feel like people would actually end up imitating that sort of thing these days, whether it be violent or just, you know, I don't know, default dancing on someone's grave or something. So I don't know. That's just the stimulus that they've been exposed to. So they end up latching onto that, I guess. And if no one tells them that it's wrong, and that's all they see, then that's what they end up doing.
Yeah.
But I never had that thought process of, yeah, I'm gonna, you know, build a rocket and launch it to the air or whatever, or tie like a dynamite to like an animal or something. Never had that thought.
Yeah.
But that makes you think though, why is it that we don't have that thought, despite still having the thought that we have now with the like ADD mindset of doing crazy things? What makes us think that, well, this makes sense, why would we do this, as opposed to when we see things on videos and stuff all the time where people are actually getting in trouble doing childish things, like consuming Tide Pods.
Like I said, I generally believe it's just a lack of disconnect. We've kind of grown to such a point that we can't communicate properly anymore. I don't know if that's necessarily the word I want to go for, but like, as far as
disassociate, maybe,
like, we can't get it across, we can't get it translated, we can't get it understood in such a way anymore like we used to. Because I feel like
that
back
this
then,
is real and this isn't.
well, not even that, just like the general, like for example, a lot of us when we learned as kids kind of came through cause and effect. Hey, the stove just got turned off, you don't put your hand there because it's hot. A lot of kids, we're very quick and reactive. We don't sit there and like, oh, you know, let me feel for... No, a lot of us might accidentally touch it. And then all of a sudden we got burns on our hands. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, now in our head we can associate this to like, this will happen if we do this. And there just
Nowadays,
seems to be
it's more like, okay, bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
So now it's, how do we do that without, you know, because I mean, everyone's going to have the same process here. We don't want to hurt kids to make them learn,
Right.
nor do we want them to get hurt, but how do you still translate that in such a way that they understand that? And
By
that's
cartoons.
always been the difficulty. But the problem is, and this is generally where I think, genuinely kind of think we've laxed, or we've, you know, kind of stepped back on in a way that we shouldn't have, was we have tried to shelter a lot of kids from stuff. So a lot of those realities of stuff, like, because I mean, that kid's only going to learn what you allow them to see, what you allow them to hear, what you allow them to interact with.
Correct.
So if everything you let them interact with is soft, fluffy, and cuddly, it's kind of hard to realize something different might be out there. You know, by golly, how could a bear exist when I have a fluffier, not so moving, not so loud one at home?
Yeah, how can a bear be so deadly when these are so soft and cuddly? Yeah, exactly.
And
How
like
could they harm a fly?
that's kind of the disconnect that we have with a lot of everything. And I'm not saying like the new direction of like wanting to shelter everything is wrong. It's just when you take so much out to learn, it becomes really difficult to understand where to go from there without some kind of example. It's the whole, you
Right.
know, how do you teach them that this is going to hurt them if they have no idea what, you know, pain and stuff like that is? That's
Yeah.
always just been the tricky thing. How do you genuinely connect that without doing anything really bad?
You have to, I think the main thing is when it comes to learning about stuff like that, you have to realize what is considered deadly and what is considered minor. Now, I'm not saying, yes, watch your child put their hand on the stove to teach them, yes, the stove is hot. I'm just saying that if it does happen, hopefully they're not going to die from touching it. But, you know, if they touch it, they're going to get the reaction of, ow, that was hot. They may cry because of how much it stung. And they now get PTSD from not touching the stove.
Oh, great, a child with PTSD of stove. Why don't you cook? I remember that thing once. I ain't doing that shit again.
Thing anymore. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, yeah. And then you have to also think like this. Think about how whenever people are always like, man, teenagers are so annoying. They're so hard to deal with. So hard to teach or be around and stuff. And you have to remember, okay, well, let's think about it this way. When you were a teenager, you wanted to go places, you wanted to do things, and your parents didn't allow you to, and you got angry about it, and you did one of two things. You either complained about it and didn't do it, or you complained about it and did it behind their backs. And you learn from either or. You either don't do it, and it's like, my parents are protecting me from this, or you do it, and you learn from the consequence from it. But at the same time, either or is an experience. And if something bad happened, guess what? That experience was learned that, okay, I don't need to do that again, or I get it. My parent was right about this. But at the same time, you should still let, they're somewhat old enough to where you should let them still experience something. And that's not me saying like, I mean, let's be reasonable. 100% going on record. Let's be reasonable about this. I'm not saying like let them go out and get into some serious nonsense. I'm saying that yes, maybe your teenager is like, oh, not teenager, but like someone that's like a young adult is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this party. Okay. You can let them know, yeah, okay, you go to this party, but more than likely, if you are, you know, if you're going to one of these adult parties and you're not of age to be consuming and drinking or whatever, then you can get in trouble, and the people around you can get in trouble as well. So you may want to, you know, be careful with that, and lots of consequences can come from that. And then they're like, yeah, whatever, mom, yeah, whatever, dad. And either they end up being okay or they end up not being okay, and they still learn regardless. Stuff like that.
Yeah. But the only problem with that is it raises, you know, like what are they going to take away from that? That like, oh, as long as I follow this, you know, I will be fine and I won't get in trouble for it. Or as long as I do it this way, you know, I like, not to say like,
it's hard to explain, right? Because you're trying to like, you know, keep it going while dancing around.
It's more like, are they going to learn the right thing from it? And it's not going to be like, you know, oh, I did this and I didn't get caught for it, so theoretically, or, you know, whatever have you, I, you know, as long as I do it this way, I'm not going to get caught, or I can get away with it.
Usually that is the mindset. The mindset is, as long as I don't get in trouble, I'm good. But then see, with that mindset, it's either, hey, maybe you should, if you know that's going to be the case, then maybe you just shouldn't do it, because there is a chance that you could get in trouble. Not the, you know, because like, if you do get in trouble, then there would be the consequence, and you'd be like, man, I don't want to do that again, until later, and you do it again anyway, until you realize, oh man, wait, I shouldn't do that because I did get in trouble this time, and I know what the consequence is from this, so maybe I shouldn't do it. Sort of situation. And like, that's gonna happen. Like, I grew up in a way where, like, even with like current jobs and stuff, I grew up in a way where I was like, oh man, I'm starting this new job and I really don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess up or anything. I don't want to screw anything up because it's gonna cost like money if this gets messed up or something. And then you have to come to realize that you learn through experience, you learn through messing up, and when you mess up, you learn to not do that or make that same mistake again. Like, you're not gonna do things perfectly from the start. You're not gonna do things perfectly all the time. But when you have your basis on what you're supposed to be learning or what you need to be doing or what not to do, then that's how you progress forward. But if you're just like, well, my parents told me that I shouldn't do this, but they don't know anything, I'm gonna do it anyway. Then you can either say, wow, you're disobedient, or okay, go ahead. And then that's really it. But then when you say, okay, go ahead, then you think, oh man, they must have some really bad parents because they just let them do anything that they want to. And it's like, because there's always going to be that situation where it's like, oh, you don't care about your kids because you just let them do this. Or, you know, maybe you should have coddled them more. Everyone knows, I'll go on record for this too, everyone knows that there is no book on, like, parenting per se. People have written many books based off of their experiences on parenting, but not everyone's way of parenting works for every child because every person is different. If there are some higher success to where the kids are, like, you know, well behaved and whatnot, then sure, that's called giving tips. That's a good thing, but not necessarily like you must do this in order for your child to be 100% obedient or something like that. It's going to be more like, this is helpful because it adds to morals, and the morals help them learn right from wrong, what not to do, and what to do when they come across a situation like this. Because let's be honest, you're gonna be criticized by something no matter what. So if you gotta make sure that it's not like a super like big thing. Like, oh yeah, I'll let my child take a gun to outside the house. I mean, I taught them how to use it, so everything should be fine. And you know what? Sometimes that may be true because you actually did teach them, but other times they're just gonna be like, if they get too angry, yeah, I will use it. Whether, you know, I will use this and it will cause a ruckus around them or something. There's a cause and effect to literally everything. So you just have to be careful, but at the same time, you don't want to coddle the children to where they think that, like, if they step outside and they step on a rock, a boulder will fall on top of them. Like, come on. Everyone's gonna have a different mindset no matter what. And upbringing comes from the previous person's upbringing based on the guardian that they are learning from or that they learned from. But what's universal is bad and good is good. But what's not universal is what is good and what is bad based on your culture. So, or what is like socially accepted based on like where you are or what you learned from where. That's where things get confusing, and that's why a lot of like parents maybe get a little skeptical about what is being taught in schools or whatever, because that can also clash with, I guess, the upbringing of or how they're trying to raise their kids based on also their morals and religions and cultures and whatnot as well. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna differ. It's all based on you, because you know that your children are going to be a blank slate, and you're gonna be like, well, what do I want them to learn? Now the real question is, how do you determine the difference between teaching your kids things and having it being considered brainwashing?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a fun thing to think about, and obviously you don't want anyone to be harmed. So it's just a judgment call, really. Not everyone has experienced everything in life, so rules are usually made when something happens. They're like, I don't know. This has never happened before, so we need to make a rule based on it since it now has happened. This hasn't happened in 30, 40, 50 years, but now it just happened. So we need to come up with a protocol for it to ensure that something like this doesn't happen again. Eh. I'm a very long-winded person when it comes to like psychological stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
It's fun to think about. I don't know. I just feel like you don't have to be like an overly angry person or whatever to get a point across. You don't have to be an overly coddling person to raise a successful family. It's literally try a thing. If it works, okay. If it's bad, see what you can do to remedy it. Ask questions around you, and go from there. Because you're gonna get, it's best to ask questions from different people anyway. Because hey, guess what? Those people exist, and they're more than likely older than you are, and they probably have had one or two kids, and you can get different feedback from different people and decide what you want to teach your kids based on that as well. Because if you just go in and just decide, I'm the only person that exists, I'm going to teach them all sorts of things that no one's going to know, and they're going to get laughed at in school because I want to turn them into super different people where they're not like anyone else or something like that. You still want them to fit in. They are kids. You want them to be socially accepted. So you still need to teach them some things that they need to be aware of. If you want to go with the route of, mascots are cool and they help with morals and help children have a happy life in terms of like Easter bunnies and Santa Claus and stuff, that's great. Keep doing that. Like, when they grow up, they're gonna learn things anyway. You don't have to tell either or anything. I'm not gonna tell anyone anything about what's what. I'm not gonna say a word about that. But if that's something that makes the kids happy and that's something you've had in your culture that, because it's tradition and whatnot, then yeah, keep it going. I mean, that's fine. But don't just go up to someone and be like, "Hey, man, blah 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 blah," and then you like make the kids and the parents angry because of that, and that's where the upbringings clash because that person that ruins that learned differently from their parents later. So, like I said, different children, different upbringing, different cultures. What's good, what's bad, that's determined between the people around you and you yourself and whatnot. So, I mean, it's a lot of questions, it's a lot of thought. It's a big thing, but it's fun to think about. It can be fun to think about, but not everything has to be doomer based. So, have a little fun with it. I think teaching is a great experience because as you teach someone things, you also learn from input as well. So it's fun. I don't know if I answered any of your questions, but
I mean, I didn't really have questions. It was just more like a
well,
how do I put it? Like not a redundant. What's the term? It's like
hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetical questions. Like, how do you safely do that without really worrying about it that much?
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Because you were like, significant others wondering about, how we're gonna raise our kids. So it's like, well, you'll figure things out once that happens. No sense in necessarily trying to think a whole lot about it per se, because
the
time will come when the time comes. That's all. I don't know.
I will say this: I got 2 videos done, so
look at that. You are working hard, my friend.
I'm working out of convenience.
Well, I mean, yeah. See, that's one of the reasons why I want to quit my job. Because it's more convenient to work on things that you're trying to work on, and be happy. See, there's a thing. Oh, well, is that a good thing for me to do? Oh, quit my job because I don't want to be there because people are aggravating me and stuff. You're going to deal with blah 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 blah. Yes, that is true. And
Yeah.
it's like, but some people will say, follow your dreams. There are other jobs out there, or if you're making good money, you might as well stay, even if people are aggravating you, because you have to make the decision between, do you like the money more or do you like being around the people more? Because otherwise, if it's gonna make you want to bang your head up against the wall, then it might be safe to get out of there, type of situation, or ask for, insight, I guess. So that's how that goes. But it's fun regardless. Decisions are fun to make. Decisions are fun to think about. But don't be scared all the time. And don't be so brutal either. And for anyone who has listened or probably will see this VOD in the future, you're probably thinking, that doesn't tell me anything. You're not telling me anything. All you're saying is make a decision. You're not telling me what's good or what's bad. And it's like, you're right. I'm not, because I'm only one person. And Dread is only one person as well. Like, each person is their own person. You have to base things based off of where you are and where you plan to reside or where you plan to be for a long period of time. Because, like I said, different cultures have different social norms, and it's like they say, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Learn how the Romans act. Learn so that you don't stick out. Because if they're doing that, that means that's what they do in their culture. If everyone around you sticks their fork facing a certain way, then learn from that and do that too, and then ask why they do it, and then you'll be like, oh, okay. But don't be like, oh, they do it that way, but I don't know if I want to do it that way, and you do it the other way, and then suddenly everyone wants to claim war on your family because of a simple mismovement of the fork or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think I'm done with the NSO for the day. It's been almost 4 hours, and this has been fun.
Oddly enough, I was actually about to start calling it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a good stopping point for me.
Yeah. I mean, I like this. This is stuff I want to strive more towards anyway. Whether you be here or in chat, or whether anyone is around or in chat, this is the type of thing that I strive for and whatnot, because I like talking about different things, as long as it's not what figures do you make and stuff, and it's like my figures don't matter anyway. But
I mean, in all honesty, to me, I would love to do start something or have something to where it's just playing Mark did it. The idea that I'm kind of going for is just the game is in the background while the conversation's going. If you enjoy the gameplay and all that, it's there. For me, he did it with Power Wash Simulator, where he used it as oh, well, we're doing this really chill thing in the background, but it's more conversating the whole time.
Right.
So that was just a really neat and fun thing that I enjoyed, and it's that idea to me is oh, something like that, whether it be couch gaming or just how this, something in the background while talking. It's just really nice.
Right. Low stress, just talk about stuff, you're not trying to commit war crimes, you're just talking about stuff that made you ponder and stuff, because obviously people think about the same thing that other people think about too, but they're too afraid to talk about it. So, I mean, I'm not really afraid to talk about anything that's not gonna get you destroyed by the world. If it's a funny thing that you just thought about but was too afraid to talk about or whatever, or you're having issues with school stuff, homework stuff, or just general whatever, then I can give input. But I'm not a demanding individual, so I'm not gonna be you must do this to be successful or whatever, because that's just not how that goes. You can always give tips or like inspire people, but never say this is direct, this is absolute, because I mean that's gonna turn people off immediately anyway, because it means you're demanding them, and no one wants to listen to demands, especially if everyone's an adult. No one wants to listen to another adult for some reason. Unless they're genuinely nice. So, but that's my aim, sir, and I'm glad to have you here. So,
yeah.
You know.
No, I just need to do a stream where you're the guest on there while I'm doing something.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, yeah, you're a quiet person. I'm a quiet person. But, like, this is one of the things that gets me talking. So.
Well, I just mean in general of, like, find something that you and me can interact with. That's just chill background stuff while talking. Or even just something mundane that I normally do, like the 40-hour Destiny. So how are you? Hang on, let me get through it. Alright, and then back to this.
40-hour Rubik's Cube solving.
And 0.2 seconds, 5.83 seconds. How did it go up? It's 5.9.
No, I was distracted. Why is this happening? You took out my concentration. Why is this happening?
Sounds like the origins of a villain. You took my time and concentration. I was this close to being the Rubik's Cube World Solving Champion, and now I can never get that edge again.
And look at me now. Look at what I've become. I now become a villain because of you. So, dude, it's just a number, and then it just starts choking him out. But yeah. But thanks guys for listening and watching. Hope this is interesting background noise for you. Hope more of you can take a look or listen as well at some point. I don't know, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I mean, that's whatever. I don't know. If you see it, you see it. But it's just something I like to do for fun, you know, chill out. But I'm Xskinavir. This is Jared. You have any lasting thoughts, closing thoughts?
Winners don't do drugs.
Winners don't do drugs, everyone. And this is true, so don't do drugs if you want to be considered a winner. Alright?
Someone in a hospital.
In my head.
Just someone in a hospital. Hey, you need to take this morphine. No! Winners!
No!
Dude! Give me that morphine!
I knew you were gonna go that route. I just knew you were gonna go the route of where someone actually genuinely needs that sort of drug, but you're looking at it more as like the bad drugs. They're like, no, I was told by random chipmunk-looking streamer that, or the pastel snake, that winners don't do drugs. I can survive without it, and then they're just out.
No, for me, it was the idea that like someone's gonna take that too seriously. So it's instead of it being like, hey man, you want to take a hit, it's more like someone in the hospital genuinely. It's like, no, like just make fun of the whole like war against drugs thing where someone grows up like, no, I was told as a kid that I don't. Just starts violently shaking from the pain. Give me that morphine.
Yeah. Or it's like you want to take this hit, man, and then you give them a Hertz donut, and they end up in the hospital.
But the only thing that I can say actually out is just that I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed the commentary, as mundane or as political or side, where have led us to go. Hope it means all the same either way. So rambling today for us. So comment it how you will. Laugh at it, do whatever. But for the most part, if you enjoy this, at least let him know so he can invite me back. So putting up with.
Thanks, Jared. Yeah, it's fun stuff. So
and
I really appreciate it.
And now to reiterate from earlier, now that you've made it at the end of the video, now if you want to go check out my channel, now's the time to go do it.
Right.
Otherwise, go browse through more of his videos first.
Yeah. No. Go to Jared's channel, because at least you know what you're getting into when you go to his, because it's gonna be Metroid, and if you like Metroid, then you're gonna be looking at Metroid.
Well, there's a few
So-
older non-Metroid things. I actually need to go back to doing some PS2 stuff. But still, I the same.
That too, yeah. Sly Cooper as well, yes. 100%, yes.
Thanks for having me.
So-
Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll leave it to him.
Okay. But yeah, I'm Mrs. Kinavira, this is Dread, and we hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Matane.
Bye.